Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope you are ready for this one. Real quick, just want to give a shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back, even though you missed the live party. That is the best part, but don't worry, you are still going to enjoy this, but make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never, ever, ever have to worry about missing another party again. Ever. Big thank you to the sponsor of the stream, my6shirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And, of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch, only at my6shirt.com. All right. What is going on? How is everybody doing? We have got yet another installation of Jubilee Middle Ground with feminists, but with women this time. So last we got Salty Plays in the building. What is good? What is good? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, so last time last time they did this, shout out to Jubilee, they had all men, feminists versus anti-feminists. But now we're doing women. So let's get into it. As always, if you can't hear the video, please do let me know.
Some pretty blanket statement saying feminists don't care about it. And you say, you think that all women just are against men?
To answer your question, yeah, you're talking about women. Women are not all feminists.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. So you guys know how these work. They have the people, obviously you can see the feminists on one side, anti-feminists on the other side. They will put up a prompt. They will say a prompt, and those who agree with the prompt step forward.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
Ooh, so this is going to be an interesting one. I'm interested to see, obviously all the feminists are going to walk forward, but I'm interested to see what the anti-feminists are going to say and why, because it makes sense that, hey, we got Dan in the building. Welcome, Dan. Welcome. Shouts out to Salty Plays for being first. Yes, but I am very interested in what the anti-feminists are going to say are the reasons that women don't need to be feminists. I mean, I think it's going to be obvious.
I think the concept of anti-feminism is like counterintuitive as a woman.
It's the patriarchy, and we need to make sure that
like everyone should want equality of the sexes, you know? Everyone should want to have the same education level, the same all these things in a position and still make as much as a person who identifies as male.
In this person who identifies as male. Well, if they work as hard, absolutely. But if they don't, then not.
Society, we have to be feminists as women because there's certain things going on where our rights are being stripped away.
Are they though?
And Black women, Black trans women are more likely to be murdered and attacked, and that's absolutely a feminist issue, and that's something that everyone should care about.
Except for the fact that we know it is way more likely to get attacked anywhere if you're a man. Hey, we got Dr. Evil Genius in the building. What is good? Good friend of the channel. Definitely go check out his personal channel as well as the Talking Shit podcast. Feel free to drop that link. We also got Kelly in the building. What is good? What is good? Oh, I know you guys are going to enjoy this one. So the prompt so far, you guys know Jubilee Middle Ground, feminist, anti-feminist, all women. First prompt. If you are a woman, you should be a feminist. So far, we're just listening. And yes, thank you. Dr. Genius, 6 times more likely to be attacked. Simply. I was going to say simply by having a dick, but I mean, I don't know how, what's good with all these identifying as a male and all that shit. But exactly, 6 times more likely. But they have to be worried. They need feminism. Do you though? The whole OG gang. So yes, the prompt is, if you are a woman, you should be a feminist.
Everyone of any gender expression, men included, should be feminists.
But why?
I think there are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't represent what I think all of us here feel is the true ideal of.
Okay, so is Alexa going to be the only one with green hair and the only feminist to also make sense? Probably not, but so far she's doing so good.
Absolutely. And I don't think that everyone has to be active as a feminist in the exact same way.
There it is. There it is. 5 minutes into the stream, guys, and we got semantic obfuscation. Not everybody has to be a feminist in the exact same way. So the way that I'm a feminist, I think that sex work is amazing. But the way that you're a feminist, you believe that what are we talking about? This is exactly what was the problem with the Vice panel, that they were in that room for 6 hours and they couldn't get 40 minutes of content out of it.
Like, not everybody can march, not everybody can protest, not everybody can really be an advocate for feminism.
At the end of the day,
Protest for what?
it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and
Called it.
seeing the flaws in those
I mean, that was
systems
an
and how
easy
they
one.
negatively impact everyone.
I pause on that thought.
And that's so, you know, then they're going to have the disagreeers step forward. But that's the one that they hide behind. Well, the patriarchy hurts everybody. Even though you're a man, you're still being hurt by the patriarchy. So I'm actually looking out for you by calling you all of these names and saying that men are, you know what they say. You know what they say. So let's see. All right, anti-feminist, make me proud. Let's go.
forward.
Define woman. Go, please. One of you.
A person
Whoa, there is Ariel Scar or something. I don't know, but she is a YouTuber. She was always more of a conservative YouTuber. She happens to be a lesbian, and she was talking about political issues, and her whole channel got co-opted, and she got turned into a terf because she's not down with all this gender bender stuff. So she is coming in hot. What is a woman?
who their internal idea of what they are is a woman.
Terrible definition. Coming from a lesbian, that destroys the very concept of our sexual orientation. Just
That destroys our sexual orientation.
saying that it's an
That's what
idea.
we've been saying.
Why?
Why?
Because you can't be connected and sexually attracted to somebody's brain.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist. Why do y'all
Oh,
disagree
okay,
with that?
okay.
I completely disagree. You know, exactly 2 years ago, if I had done this, I probably would be a feminist. But then I started to look at, and I think the agreeers actually mentioned this, like, what do Black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests for Black women, and I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there who were just there to take pictures.
There's your problem. There's your problem already. You're at a feminist thing. Why are you worried about the racial makeup of what's there? Is everybody fighting for whatever you're fighting for? Then why does it matter?
Social media, and then the Black men also hiding behind us. Everyone, the whole world hides behind Black women. Enough.
Same thing that's happening. Look what's happening in Iran. People on the feminist side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is trans woman living in Iran right now.
So speaking of which, the poll that I put up, is feminism have a place anywhere in the world? Anywhere in the world. Now, 20% of you did say no, and I would disagree with that. But I am right with 80% of you saying that just not in the West. What Ariel's talking about, what's going on in Iran and Saudi Arabia, countries all over the world. Women are not having a good time. But, you know.
It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman, I particularly think I'm a humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach Black women how to sit in our feminine energy, because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds
What
like
does that
Black
even mean?
feminism to me. Teaching women how to do that in the time that we are in now.
So what is the difference between feminism and Black feminism? Well, you just got a treat. But yeah, I wasn't going to touch that one. I'm glad you said it. Well, you just got a treat. He's got to lay down. I gave him one. He was sitting. He's supposed to be laying down. I put a nice comfy sweater there for him. Don't even get me started. But this is exactly, again, why the Vice panel got off the rails, because it was about so many other things than being a woman. It's about everything else except being a woman. Dr. Genius says, this is why I skip many of these discussions. I'm just trying to calm down for the night. This crap just pisses me off. Well, hopefully I can be a middleman and provide you with some calming entertainment.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest. We deserve to relax. We deserve to choose. If we want to be a traditional
Do you though?
wife. I went from law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I say that,
And there it is. I did this, and I didn't care about anything except myself. But now I want other people to make sure I have the life that I want. Kelly says, I hate the term feminism. Seems not to be defined as one would think by people consistently and different all the time. Yep, that's the semantic obfuscation. And she said it herself. Everybody is a feminist in their own way, or nobody's a feminist in the same way. Well, then that means that word is useless.
You get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife? Because
that's what you
my
want.
choice.
That's what you want. That's the whole
choice. Feminism is all about choice. Exactly. Why can't I
Feminism is all about choice. Well, then why can't I choose?
choose? That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just had our rights to our own uteruses stripped away.
What
by-
Did you know? Because I'm pretty sure the whole rally cry for all of this was keep your government hands off my uterus. So what did the government do? Say, okay, we're going to take our hands out. It's not up to us. But that's not good enough either. Getting exactly what you asked for. That's feminism. Gavin said if there isn't a consistent definition, the term means nothing. Exactly.
The right to murder your own baby, though. I mean,
It's
let's
not
be
a
real.
baby, it's a clump of cells.
I mean, we all are clump of
think
cells right here.
I think everybody's going to agree or disagree.
Yeah,
on
that's a
that,
whole.
but I don't know if that's another topic. That's another topic.
I had a very, very hard time not stepping up to that prompt because my whole life I did consider myself a feminist. Seeing how this modern wave of feminism has now turned into something very different than equal rights. We all want equal. Of course, we want equal rights. We want equality as women. Of course,
But how can you have equal?
And all of us are behind you in that. We want, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but I want you to have the same rights under the law as I do. That doesn't mean I think all men are shit. That doesn't mean that I think you deserve a six-figure man just for existing. It feels like you have to be all in or all out. And neither of those are tenable positions. So what are you asking for? They don't know.
Equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left.
Alta had a Women's Day recently, and the Women's Day was celebrated by 2 trans women who still had their male parts. I mean, you're pushing women out of womanhood.
I'm sure we're gonna have.
And I know that they're going to say, well, that's just one example, or that just happened one time, or what's the worst? They don't understand that they are literally erasing themselves. The part of the lexicon with all of this transgender, gender bender, whatever stuff is saying that trans people don't exist. It's like, no, I'm not saying you don't exist. I'm just saying you don't exist as a woman because you've got a dick. Whereas the feminists and trans activists are actually the ones who are trying to say that what a woman is does not exist. The irony, the projection, the word games, semantics.
Discussions about whether or not a trans woman is a woman, but I actually want to go back to how we feel that our ideal of feminism is probably not the way that you four think of feminism. I'm willing to bet.
I agree with that. I think that's why people like me stepped away from that. Not because we're not women empowered or believe in women empowerment.
It's because we are women empowered.
It's because we believe women empowerment means something different than what you guys believe in.
And what I'm seeing now. Pause there. We're gonna reset. Next prompt.
All
There's
right.
no
Prompt number
wrong
2.
reason
There is
to
no. Oh, let's mute that. There is no wrong reason to get a smush or a porridge. That's what we started calling it on this channel. Oh, hold on. Okay. Struggle stream.
You are making a health decision
Oh.
between you and a medical professional that is the right decision for you, your body, your future. It is always the right decision.
I would never stand between
it
anyone with a uterus from making a decision about their body.
No, yeah, they're like, you can do it. You can have this health. You can have this health care if you are a victim of incest or a victim of rape. It's like you should be able to have access to that. What if you want it? You know, it's the same as going into the doctor and getting a routine check. If there's something for your body that you think will, you know, not just benefit you but help you live and also help you sustain an actual good life for your child, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah, killing it is certainly going to end in a positive experience for your child. Notice how everything there, except for her little caveat at the end when, you know, doesn't make sense. Everything is about you, her, me. It's not about the child. It's about what's good for me. For me. I need to be comfortable. Well, then close your legs.
And
Yeah.
financial is a huge thing too.
It is a
It's-
huge thing.
It's an
Okay, then close your legs.
extremely huge financial responsibility
Okay, then close your legs.
to have a kid, and some people just don't have that means.
Do I need to say it again?
I agree and disagree. I'm definitely pro-choice. I'm probably the only anti-feminist that's pro-choice.
Right here. I'm right with you.
Being pro-choice, pro-abortion is actually very common. It's like 78% of them.
Hey, we got Divine and Rod in the building. What is good? What is good? No notification. Oh, we hate YouTube. We hate YouTube. So why don't we do this real quick? If you guys can do me a huge favor, URL right here, the share button right below. If you could just blast this out, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. That's right. I am 7 people away. 7 people away from getting this channel monetized. Please, the only way we can get there is to just share it out. Let's get this going.
Okay, so yeah,
there's actually many people who are in your category.
Yeah, to me, it makes sense in certain circumstances. I don't think people should be using abortion as a form of birth control. I think, to me, abortion's, believe it or not even the issue we need to be talking about right now. I feel like we need to be talking about how to properly educate people, no matter what their status is, no matter what their sexual orientation, whatever. And we need to go from there.
All right. So now we have the disagreeers of there is no wrong reason to get a porridge. Now, as I said, I am pro-choice, but there are absolutely almost all of the reasons to get a porridge is the wrong reason. Ideally, there's really only one reason. That's that ectopic pregnancy or whatever with life of the mother. Unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, it's a good thing that doesn't happen more often. But I'm saying most of the time, that's not what we're talking about. So let's see.
Well, I think I have a very interesting perspective on this because my mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in our state, and she is very pro-abortion outwardly, but inwardly in our home, we weren't allowed to do it. And so growing up at that dichotomy really, I think,
dichotomy or hypocrisy? You're out here literally killing babies, and then you in your own home decide that that's not allowed. You do you, honey. You do you.
messed me up a lot because I was like, okay, which one is the truth?
There are wrong reasons to get an abortion. A wrong reason to get an abortion is if you are going through your pregnancy and all of a sudden you change your mind. If you are irresponsible and all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that they don't,
And it's really that simple. It's really that simple. Like accountability. Be an adult.
Women are getting abortions because they just don't want to be pregnant anymore.
Yup.
They're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works.
Okay, so explain it to me. Explain it to me in a way that changes the end result, because that's all I really care about. I don't care if it's a pill you take. I don't care if it ends differently, then we have a conversation. But if you're just telling me the process of the end result that I already determined I don't want, then it doesn't really matter if I understand the process, because I don't want the end result. Dr. Virginia says, so many ways to prevent pregnancy, but this is still the hill they choose to die on. I don't get it. I don't get it. Nothing is all of a sudden. Exactly, Divine Rod.
Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions.
Yep.
And what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus.
Oh, so we are... So then you realize that is exactly the dividing line that nobody determines is not a human. You're saying you've birthed a human, but you can still kill that because it's not a human. What?
Come on, man. There's no going back. You're literally giving birth to a body. It's never just a, whoop, I don't feel like being pregnant anymore. Guess these last 8 months, I just wasted everything. No one's doing that.
Except they are, though, right? I told you they would. That's not happening. That's only a few. No, I'm sorry. Do some more research. You are wrong.
Raising children is the most blessed gift. And I speak as someone who, when I found out that I was expecting for the first time, I kid you not, I was terrified.
But you were prepared.
No, I was not.
Entitled assumptions. Well, you're a white woman and you've got a red shirt on. So you must have a husband and you guys must have, get the fuck out of here. What? I mean, what? The liberal entitlement knows no bounds. Byron said, give men the ability to opt out of fatherhood, and the porridge rates and welfare moms drop overnight. I mean, I don't think that's a perfect solution, but I absolutely believe that if women are going to be able to make that choice, then absolutely men should at least have some say in it.
Necessarily prepared. I was not prepared. And I was very much caught off guard. And I was terrified because I had an incredible career happening for me on the upswing.
They won't even let her finish. They won't even let her finish.
Let me finish. I had such a dramatic, fearful reaction to becoming a mother because of what our society has been telling me throughout my adolescence and my early 20s, is that once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society that I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action, though.
So, wait a minute. That sentiment is the patriarchy? That sentiment is feminism. The patriarchy has nothing to do with what... am I stupid or is she stupid? Am I stupid or is she stupid?
That once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society that I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action, though.
What?
What is the patriarchy?
What?
Well, it's actually a multifaceted thing that, like, if you knew a little bit more, you wouldn't even be asking that, because that's an offensive question on its own. God.
That isn't the patriarchy. I feel like
I was joking. And she literally said it!
that's the better question.
Is it though?
A systemic
Jesus.
ideal that favors masculinity, men, male power, male dominance.
Yeah, need to cut each other off, because not one of you can give a real answer to this question. You all talk about the patriarchy. Not one of you can give an answer to the question. So they have to cut you all together, and your word salad somehow kind of maybe makes a little bit of sense, but still doesn't. Dr. Virginia says, second of third comments from Divine Around that I couldn't see until Lutch posted them above. Are you in top chat or live chat? I'll make sure, you know. But yeah, 100% agree. Dye's hair to rot the brain. It could be. It could be. Yeah, so let's see this answer again.
It's a systemic. What isn't the patriarchy? I feel like that's the better question. It's a systemic ideal that favors masculinity, men, male power, male dominance, the traditional idea of what a man is.
And what is wrong with that? What is wrong with the idea of what a man is?
Patriarchy is a system that oppresses not just women.
How?
But everyone.
How? What are the mechanisms by which this patriarchy oppresses me, you, or anyone else? That is what the question is. Well, it's just a system that does things. Oh, thanks for clearing that up.
It's not patriarchy, because the people who scared me so much were the women mom bloggers.
Just because it's coming from a woman, coming from women, does not mean that
these were the
This is how far the brainwashing has gone. There is literally nothing that they haven't prepared for, that the women sitting here have already been brainwashed. They know these questions. Well, but it's women saying, well, it doesn't have to be, because women could be brainwashed by the patriarchy too. Well, you know what else they can be brainwashed by is feminist doctrine. There we go.
No, these were the women, and I speak with really strong conviction about this. The women who are publicly outward speaking to other women through blogs, through social media, talking about, my life is so hard because of my kids. Oh, my kids are jerks. Oh, life is this. I have no money. The
patriarchy! No! Oh, wait. I thought that was exactly what feminists... Oh, I'm confused now. I thought, what?
Those messages are very, very pervasive. And they're...
Notice how this entire time, again, because she's a white woman in a red shirt, I honestly think that's the only reason why. She's a white woman in a red shirt. They have been denying her experience. I thought it was all about this feminism, that my experience, my truth, this, that. But she has not been able to get out one sentence. We're like, no, but that's the patriarchy. Well, even though it's... Shut up and let her speak.
Very dangerous, and they're toxic.
But there are also real parts of motherhood. We just discussed how motherhood...
How many of you are mothers here?
I am not a mother, but...
Okay, I am a mother of 12 years. And I know all of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish, as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through this motherhood experience, I, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the positive aspects of
Yes.
motherhood supersede all of the hard
let's,
stuff.
Let's get back on prompt again. There's
Beautiful. There is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people there. One of them, only one of them is a parent. And all of them tried to tell the parent what her experience was. Imagine a man was in that room. Those same feminists who disagree with that woman would jump down your throat as a man if you tried to say the exact words that just came out of their mouth.
There's no wrong reason to get an abortion.
I wanna-
I want to hear from Isabella.
There's been so many points I want to talk
I was gonna
about.
talk about Candace, maybe. Candace, what she says about.
I don't even know what she said.
Oh,
Just let her talk.
sorry.
So my parents actually had me when they were 19.
I love how they're trying to figure out what they're saying, and the producer's like, "You got to talk now. Talk. If you don't have all your shit, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna look bad. Just talk. You can edit this out. Like if we take a minute to just get together what we're trying to say, I think that should be all right. No.
And
Can't have
thank God they
rationality.
didn't abort me. They were not ready. They were in a terrible situation. And having me at 19 made them grow up and mature and become adults and not continue being on a bad path. So I'm thankful for that. And a lot of, something that you said it's society's, I think it was about society's pushing this idea, like demonizing motherhood. And you said that's part of the patriarchy. Well, I would ask you this. Don't you think men benefit from women getting abortions because they no longer have to deal with it? They can just sleep around. And if, God forbid, a woman gets pregnant, oh, she wants to abort it. Cool. Now I'm off the hook.
What is the patriarchy?
I don't even know what that men oppress us and like
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
very happy to live under this
She's got it.
patriarchy.
Very happy to be living under the patriarchy. Because what is the patriarchy? Oh, the patriarchy is just a word for the way things are. That's it. The way things are. That happens to be male dominated in very many ways. Now, that's not so much as strongly true as it once was, but that's all that it means.
Word patriarchy, it does not make any sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society doesn't bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
Shout out
The
to
feminist
Marilyn
movement.
Monroe. All right, so now we're getting spicy. The next prompt: the feminist movement is inherently racist. So we know now that we have two white feminists. This is not going to go well for them.
Is inherently racist.
The feminist movement does not benefit POC in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit Black women. And
Okay, so it doesn't help black women. It only helps white women. So then, oh, she's an anti-feminist. Okay, fair. But yeah, I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it in your own comment. But I thought she was a feminist. Okay, that's making sense.
darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us Black women as the bullets for the feminist movement.
if we're talking historically.
How though? And I want to be fair to the women because we don't know how Jubilee is cutting this up. But it's just so much saying things, just statements that are not backed up by anything.
If we're talking how feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement. If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, Black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for Black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use Black women. They used Black women's efforts because most of the most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by Black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit.
Absolutely.
Well, that sounds like a terrible movement. Sounds like something that I wouldn't want to be a part of. If it's inherently racist and you are in favor of it, what does that say about you?
For like people who do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white, I think the most important thing for us to do is
Imagine that. Wait. Literally, the prompt is the feminist movement is inherently racist. And you step forward agreeing that you, as a feminist, are inherently racist by your own ideology, by your own admission. So why should I even want to have anything to do with you as a person or your ideology? If you agree that it not just has racial components or this, that, the other, that is inherently racist, according to you.
Sit down, shut up, and listen to Black women.
As a Black woman who
Hey, we got Mike in the building. What is good, Mike? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Facts. Welcome to the party, brother. As a Black woman who identifies as a feminist,
identifies as a feminist, my work centers Black women. So to say that,
my work centers Black. What is that? I don't is that some slang? What does that mean? Did I miss something? My work centers
Black woman who identifies as a feminist, my work centers Black women. So
what does that mean? Is that like a thing that I just don't know? I have no idea what that sentence means. Divine Around said it's literally a checklist of oppression and voting, originally based on men's ability of violence. Instead of one vote, it became one vote. Repeal the 19.
to say that, of course, like white women were able to vote before Black women. Like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my life and the way that the community that I've built around myself of Black feminists,
Well, why label it feminism?
Well, you can label it whatever you want, but
helping other Black women.
I affirm you, and I see that
that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, if you are saying, it's not like you're being accused of racism. You are saying, yes, my movement, says the feminist, is inherently racist. But I'm right. Are you though? I was told over and over and over and over and over and over again across the last 7 years that racism was a bad thing. I didn't know. But I've been told. Things change really, really quickly. So maybe racism is good these days? I don't know.
Antics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but
It is still racist,
but you're not racist. So if you are not racist and you
then you can't be a feminist. That's how words work. That's how language works. Well, but
have issues that you want to be working towards for Black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
How dare you help white women?
We're talking about semantics. We're talking about terms. They evolve and they change. Ideologies change.
Right.
And I think that feminism is evolving and changing. And I think
All right, Kamala Harris.
Okay, we are just talking about words, okay? Sometimes words change. We are people. Sometimes people change too.
You saying things.
I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say
it's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. I think third wave feminism. I mean, by all accounts, I see, again, have a very powerful Black mother, very feminist Black mother. And I would never forget this as I was, actually, she's battling cancer and I'm holding her hand in bed and she's married to my dad, who's a very passive man. He's a professor, very passive, and let her took the front. She waited for my dad to leave the room and said, maybe you can find a man to take care of you. And this is I'm sorry.
Wait. I missed that.
He's a professor, very passive, and let her took the front. She waited for me.
I need to hear that.
Counts. I see, again, have a very powerful Black mother, very feminist Black mother.
Right.
And I would never forget this as I was, she's battling cancer and I'm holding her hand in bed and she's married to my dad, who's a very passive man. He's a professor, very passive, and let her.
Am I the only one missing what she's talking about? So the feminist mother's got cancer in bed, holding her passive husband's hand, and then let her took the front. I don't know what that means.
Took the front. She waited for my dad to leave the room and said, maybe you can find a man to take care
Oh, to her. Okay, that's the part I missed. Maybe you can find a man to take care of you.
And this is I'm sorry. My mom is she's like this thing that's bigger than life. She's so big, like untouchable, like powerful, and no one could tell her. And just to see her weak, and her only regret now is that she never got to rest and she never met a man to take care of her. Even though my dad is incredible in his own way, but she never experienced what it feels like to be a woman.
All of you feminists will feel exactly the same way as I don't know what her name is, Nike, whatever. This woman's mother, the same exact sentiment that she just expressed. All four of these women, and most, certainly not all, but most of the blue-haired feminists will feel the exact same way very quickly. Within 20 years, it's going to start at the latest.
And I refuse to. I would rather die alone than experience a marriage like that. after 40 years of fighting and being a feminist, and she is now at her end. I mean, no one wants to say they did life wrong, but she's saying, man, I wish I could have taken care of myself.
Yep. Mike's exactly right. She's saying her father was a beta, and her mother's is telling and telling her daughter to marry an alpha. And you can see the pain in her eyes from her mother not being able to live the type of life that she wanted to live because of, what is it? Feminism.
I wish I could have done this. I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so, and she says it, she wasn't there in the household to raise us, back to motherhood, because she was gone fighting every single day for women's rights to come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home. And we never got to have a mother,
When I scroll my own,
and that's the brutal irony of this, is that it's not like we're out. I mean, okay, there is an aspect of, sexual liberation that definitely helps men, but women, you're only hurting yourselves with this shit. You're only hurting yourselves. It's going to be you who ends up 40, 50, 60 years old and alone. Either alone or trying to hang on to your what do they call them? Son husbands or whatever. When you have boys that are 16 years younger than you, and you have nobody else who will even have a conversation with you. What do you expect? Ron said, yep, enjoy your 1,200 thread count betting that no man will ever know, and your cats.
social media feed,
It's sad.
I rarely see a powerful woman highlighted who is not an ethnicity. No. It's true.
I'm using them as pawns.
Yeah, using them as pawns.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of big brands are now hopping on this, modern feminism bandwagon, which I don't agree with what modern feminism is. But a lot of brands now, and I'll just say, a big brand that comes to mind is Dove. Diversity is always a good thing. However,
Is it though? Diversity of thought. I can't really think of too many situations where diversity of thought is not a good thing. But diversity of skin tone for the sake of diversity is not a good thing.
I, for years, have not seen any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes a woman that looks like us. What modern feminism today is lacking, I think, is
Jill.
genuine respect for diversity of opinion.
There
for
you
all women.
go.
If you felt modern day feminism didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Sure.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
This is what I mean. I thought this was going to be a little bit more fun. Honestly, I'm having a good time, but it's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad that this is what these women have to deal with, because obviously, we can just say you see an angry blue-haired feminist and you just whatever. I'm telling you, bro, chill. But I feel bad because there's a lot of women who aren't these blue-haired feminists, that aren't these Twitter warriors, that absolutely have to deal with the social messaging that they're talking about. The same shit that we hate, they hate it too. Now, maybe if you said something in the last 20 years, we wouldn't be here. But I'm just saying, I feel for these women who we're just trying to be open and inclusive and nice. Just trying to be nice people. That's how all of this started. Just wanted to be nice. And then it got here. I said, and here's the tragedy. Women are what putting up with. I don't know what that says.
the entire time everyone was talking, all I was thinking was, wow, I'm so sick of all these labels and all these different intersections. And these days there's more intersections than genders. And I'm just like, all these identity politics groups, we're just pitting each other against each other. Race keeps getting brought up. I know it's brought up in the prompt for this one, but in every single other one. And I don't even think about this. I don't even think that I'm not being represented even in ads.
Well, they're going to call privilege. You don't have to think about it. So just because you're privileged enough to not to have to think about it. And she is fucking cute, by the way. But I guarantee that's where this is going. Mike says, my sister-in-law is a feminist. Been married twice. She's in her 50s and alone because her 50s and alone. Her son doesn't want anything to do with her. I bet it doesn't go. I bet she is desperate to have him in her life, though. Virginia says, non-feminists who don't speak up to help the status quo continue and progress. They deserve some responsibility. Oh, 100%. 100% they do. 100% they deserve responsibility. But in the same way that I can see that the messaging that kept me in a liberal mindset for as long as it did, it was my responsibility to get out of that, but I was still targeted. I was still, conned. I was conned. And these women have been conned by the feminists that came before them. And the people who know that women have it equal. But they need something to fight. So the patriarchy. I feel bad. I mean, I'm not saying they don't deserve any responsibility. I'm not saying if you're not going to stand up, then there ain't shit I can do. I'm here for you, but you got to lead the charge. These are your people, honey. But I do feel for them.
I don't care. It just says I don't.
Sure.
I am me.
Here
Yeah,
it comes.
I'm sure you don't care.
You don't have to.
Here it comes.
Thank you for letting me know that. Feminists always know best for me. That's what I've noticed. It's a trend.
I mean, I'm just pointing out that you are a privileged white woman who
Called it.
has not had to see the lack of diversity.
Unlike you, white woman. I'm speechless.
When we step into a room filled with other white people, we don't notice that it's other white people. But when women of color have stepped into rooms and they see that it's just a bunch of other white
Is this not white-splaining? Is this not white-splaining? Follow your own goddamn rules, people. Follow your own goddamn rules. There are people of color on the panel who are of this opinion. Let them speak. Oh, but she's Jewish, so she's allowed to speak about white people. Got it. I forgot the rules. Sorry. Yep. Always the race card. Always. But yeah, she's Jewish, so she's not white.
people.
Also, intersectionality is not just about diversity, and it's certainly not about diversity in ad campaigns. It's about how poor women can't afford to drive to another state to get an abortion, but rich women can. It costs more money to drive to get an abortion than it would take to raise that kid.
Well,
But that's the thing, right? Like, if you don't have the money to drive to get an abortion, how are you going to have the money to raise that child? Why should you be forced into motherhood?
Well, they use that word forced again because unless she was R-paid, nobody forced her to do shit.
Feminists don't appreciate all that men do.
I will be amazed. I will be amazed if anyone, I'll give them one. If more than one feminist steps forward for this, I don't even know. I can't even fathom that happening. There is no way. Maybe one. I don't think so. Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society. Ryan Rod says, from an article in the 1930s, at a celebration of opening the new water supply to LA, quote, and the ladies attended and blessed us with their grace, end quote, sums up what the feminists have removed from women. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know what that means. Oh yeah, you're not familiar with white splaining? Welcome to the party, Indie Film. How are you doing tonight, brother? Glad to see you. I'm gonna get those measurements over to you. Kelly, remind me to hit you up about that. All right. So the prompt is that feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society. Now I want you to think. I'm not talking about the garbage men. I'm not talking about the plumbers. I'm talking about the oil rig workers. I'm talking about the crabbing boat dudes that statistically is the most dangerous job in the world. I almost want to put a poll up to see, I'll do that for the next one because I can't imagine.
For society.
I've got a lot to say about this. Feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash. They say they hate men while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture. But guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man.
We need
men.
men.
We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God.
given rights for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's so bad now that they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men. They're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking. They're sweating.
And why do you think that is, feminists? Because we're just trying to fucking not piss you off. Everything fucking pisses you off. We still want some viscous innards. But everything pisses you off.
You're just like, be yourself. It's okay. They're so afraid of doing anything wrong. So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like, they straight white men, I heard, are now the most lonely because they just created incels. They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend, especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls, girl power, girl boss, girl this, run like a girl in the best way possible.
Vomit.
That's now it's dangerous. It is dangerous because yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do. So,
but you don't want them to think this is, and I know people hate when I use this, but I can only talk about what I know. And as a dog trainer, what you don't want to do is train your dog that every time they, like, let's say you don't want them jumping on you, right? So if they are jumping on you and then they get down and you give them a treat every time they get down, that's not going to teach them not to jump on you. That's going to teach them, oh, every time I jump up, all I got to do is get down and I got a treat. And so that is exactly what this boss babe shit is doing. It's creating this short feedback loop of dopamine hits and likes and doesn't do anything. Salty says, you didn't say it, so I will. RP culture doesn't exist, and I don't care what you went through or what you say. I have met no one who endorses that stuff. Exactly. 100% correct. This is, speaking of Crowder, this was one of the Change My Minds that he did. And there was some dude, of course, who got so mad because there was a girl that he knew that got RP just the other day. He's like, okay, well, let's call the cops and get that guy. What are you doing here talking to me? That's what a culture means. Not just does something happen occasionally. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. Notice how the feminists preach like evangelists, because this is their religion. This is their religion. It's kind of like I've been talking about this for the entire time I've been the Indian Jesus. This is how they think. This is their religion. This is their religion. So good job sticking to your Christian values. Look where it led them. I'm not saying that having your values. I'm saying pushing those values. But keep on doing it. Keep saying how we need to put God back in schools, and oh yeah, all these women are going to be right there with you.
So that men and women do maintain equality, but at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much? Why? The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just really reversing what the other waves of feminism fought to do. Have fun with men beating you in your sports, women, because guess what? You're not going to beat them. Have fun. I never even felt...
I mean, it's come full circle. It's come full circle that feminism is if you don't allow a man to beat all of the women, then it's somehow bigoted against women. Make it make sense.
Unequal. So I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these identity politics groups. I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation. And I look at people as individuals.
All right, on that note, let's have the disagreeer step.
Hey, we got Butcher Pete in the building. Welcome to the party. Welcome, I am the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. We are going over the latest Jubilee middle ground, feminists versus anti-feminists. And it's getting a little spicy. Welcome to the party.
forward. There's a difference between not appreciating.
So remember, these are the disagreeers. The prompt was feminists don't appreciate all that men do. So actually, let's back up a little bit because I didn't notice who did actually
people as individuals. All right.
So okay, obviously. So all of the feminists. Okay, I should have had, you know what? I messed it up. I messed it up when I said it. I should have had it the other way around. Because of course the feminists are going to say, oh, yeah, we know exactly what men do. And they do this and that's fine. It's cute. It's whatever, but we don't need them. But obviously it was the other way around. And I knew not a goddamn single one of them. Not a single one of them. Not a one would think that, oh yeah, there's value to men that maybe we don't see. In the same way that as women, there's probably experiences that we go through that men just inherently don't understand by virtue of not experiencing them. But that wouldn't be equality. Oh, wait, it would. So that would be not feminism.
On that note, let's have the disagreeers step forward. There's a difference between not appreciating men and pointing out the inequities that have been
Inequities. Okay.
systemically
I'm going to come back to this divide and run. I don't want to,
put in place to favor men, especially white men, white straight men. There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk about this concept of protection. We're talking about good men who are protectors. Who are they protecting us from?
Bad men.
Bad men, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Or bad
so-
women, bad anybody.
I could
Drive a
anybody.
car and
it was a rhetorical. I guess
No,
it's
I understand.
Well, it was a dumb rhetorical question. Yes, there are good men. There are bad men. Again, this is Kamala Harris over here.
Who are we getting protection from? From men? Okay. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know.
Okay, thanks for that contribution to the conversation.
the point you were trying to make. That's why I said
But
what
I'm
you
going
wanted
to
to say.
finish. So then who benefits from men's bad behavior? Good men as well, right? They get to be positioned as the good guys. Good apples. They're the good apples. And that is predicated on the bad behavior of men.
Nope, it's just based on morality. That's about it. Good men are men who do good things. Bad men are men who do bad things. Bad women, so on and so forth. Mike says, feminists are the same ones who fight for the right for a trans man to compete with women. Yeah, that's just what I was saying. Feminism has come full circle where you are anti-feminist if you don't allow men to destroy all of the women in sports. It doesn't make sense to me either.
No, they benefit from being a good person and protecting women. Who cares? We should not be praising people based off comparing them to bad people.
But I don't
Yep.
benefit from being a good girl. I don't get
You're a
to-
good feminist, right? I'm sure people love what you have to say as a feminist. Other feminists agree with
There
it and
you
like,
go.
yes, go girl
There are
boss. They
good
do.
people on earth and bad people on earth. We're always going to have that. That would never change. It's in every animal kingdom. So we need the good man to protect us from the bad man.
To go off of what you said, because you said when women are sexually assaulted, they turn to another man to protect them. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence counselor.
I know all of the things.
I work with rape victims every single day. They don't turn to men to protect them. They don't.
I didn't say they turn to them. I was saying
No,
like,
that
they potentially can, if you're walking home alone at night and
I
you're
don't turn
afraid,
to another man. I don't. I turn to other.
Well, then you're dumb. If you're not turning to a man, you should be turning to a gun because men are stronger than you. And by the looks of it, you're probably damn near twice my size, and I can still knock you the fuck out if I want to. So maybe you should turn to men. So Divine Around earlier said, when I was 15, my girlfriend was RP'd. I'm sorry to hear that. Her dad took a sawed off to the guy. LAPD thought I did it. Yikes. When they found him, he turned out to be a notorious bank robber. Interesting story. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Exactly.
Other women.
Yeah, I appreciate men. Like, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah, men are just there for like money and making us happy, right?
I know I don't have to tell you guys, and I'm very glad because I don't really have the words to articulate how ridiculous this notion is.
Yeah, repair that because I'm a goddess.
Repair that,
Like,
'cause you're the
you,
goddess.
you need to hold your weight in the relationship. Like, I appreciate men. I love men.
Oh, we need to hold our weight. Okay, fine. We're repairing shit. The fuck is it that you're doing, honey? Oh.
Men. Like, just like you said, you have a husband, you want to cook for your husband, you make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminine.
Okay, but do you follow your roles? Because if not, then I don't really know why we're talking about roles. I thought y'all feminists hated gender roles. If you want to stay in the kitchen, we can have a conversation. But something tells me you're not down with that.
This is anything you want it to be as a woman.
There it is again. There it is again. The semantic obfuscation happening right in front of your eyes.
Roles in society
Ready?
as well.
Who caught it? Who caught it? Type it in the chat while we replay it. Type it in the chat while I replay it. I want you to get that credit. Who heard it? Ready?
Feminist is anything you want it to be.
Feminist is anything you want it to be. What did Dr. Eugenia say earlier? If I can find it. Oh, come on. If there isn't a consistent definition, the term means nothing. This is now the second or third time that we've heard one of them say it can be anything that you want it to be. Okay, I want it to be the hate of women. That's what I decide. It is. And oh, she said as a woman. So I also decide now that I'm a woman. So that's what feminism is. I define feminism as hating women. As a woman, I can say that. And you can't argue. Otherwise, that's transphobic.
As a woman, I am promiscuous because I'm a feminist, but you can also be conservative.
No. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that she's promiscuous?
Because I'm a feminist. Modern day feminism is about you and what you make it and not what someone 60 years ago said it was. But I don't.
There you go. There you go. I mean, game over.
Praise men because they aren't raping. Like, you know,
I agree with everything you said.
You're agreeing with us.
I agree with you
the
fully.
same exact thing. Like,
Yeah,
that's
but I
actually the
These are such like childish arguments. Like, okay, so there's this thing as RPay, and most of the times that the RPays are done by men. Therefore, man bad. That's it. That's the depth of their political and that's their worldview. That's their worldview. RPay bad. RPay man, RPay man bad. Vote.
agree with the prompt because I do appreciate men. I don't think that.
Do you know? I don't think so. No, of course you don't.
Feminists don't appreciate men. I don't.
Didn't you just say, yeah, I appreciate that. Repair that. I'm a goddess.
I think that's not true.
Like the person who taught me to be the feminist that I am was my father.
Beta!
My father did not raise me to believe that I was less than because I was a woman.
Okay, nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about appreciating men in society at large. So how come you can listen to your dad, who I'm going to assume is a man, but everyone else is a piece of shit? It doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to sound the way that they want it to sound in the moment. That's it. Like says, Kevin Samuels say to the woman, you want to do, you want to, do you want a traditional man or are you a traditional? Kevin Samuels would say, if you want a traditional man, are you a traditional woman? Correct. She's a feminist until it's not convenient. But even then, is it still feminism? Can't take chicks like that seriously. They're all like that. They're all like that. Not all of them, but kind of all. Mike says, if you identify as a woman, you are a woman. Correct. I am now a woman. And she said, as a woman, feminism can be anything that you want it to be. So as a woman, I can now define feminism as hating women. That's what it means to me. So when I see this says Ricky feminist, what I believe that to mean is she is telling me that she hates other women. That's how I define feminism as a woman. Doesn't really work, does it?
Raised me to understand that I am societally disadvantaged, but he told me that I was going to rise above that.
My household, my mom was so strong. My dad became so emasculated that he cannot do anything. He stopped working. He became just like a couch potato, right? Why she just went out and kill it. And we are destroying family, as we know, because look at me. I'm in my 30s. I'm not settled down. I don't have children. I don't have this family unit that I want so terribly, because no matter how hard I tried, that feminism that I was raised with always tends to overshadow my relationships. In my head, I know best, right? Like I know what's right. I know because I saw it growing up. I saw it modeled to me growing up, like a woman.
And so that's when I say they're all like that. They are all like that. Some may be better and worse than others, but they're all like that.
Knows everything. We're so powerful.
But the
We're
idea
so strong.
that men are supposed to be the head of the household, do you understand that that is killing men?
That's killing men.
It is killing men.
One of them
Okay, how? Hey, we got Alex in the building. What is good, brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you. As always, we are just going through this wild feminist panel where, of course, the feminists are speaking out of both sides of their mouths. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, because they need to go back to working.
The pressure of it, you mean, right? The pressure
of it is destroying their mental health.
No, honey, you are destroying our mental health. It's you. We've been working for the entirety of humanity. That is what we've done. What's different and what is causing us to literally end ourselves is this fucking thing that you are talking about right now. But no, you appreciate everything that men have and men do for society, right? Get the fuck out of here. Hey, we got Trey in the building. What is good, Trey? Says that is because women have sexualized the father-daughter relationship. Is that a thing? I did not know that. As a father of daughters, I give my daughters the world. I won't expect your boyfriend because that's not his job. Well, and even doing that, though, is going to instill in them that a man, whether it's only you or if there's other men out there that they interact with and deal with, at least one man that they know and trust can be a good man. So if there can be one, there can be more. And sometimes that's enough, brother. Sometimes that is enough. So shout out to Trey. Hey, we got Dietrich in the building. What is good? What is good? So she sounds like an 8-year-old learning how to talk in a walkie-talkie. Yeah, I was making fun of her. I was calling her Kamala Harris before.
Like, okay, this is what we think, and it is bad. Okay?
Trace, to be fair, a lot of dads do preach don't depend on a man for anything and things like that. Well, I thought it was the patriarchy. Maybe that's the matriarchy. Only makes sense. Ryan says it's the lack of sandwiches that's killing us. Exactly.
That's why men are 6 times more likely to commit suicide than women are, especially men in committed relationships.
Wrong.
Men in their 40s that
Wrong.
are married with families are the highest risk for suicide.
But it's killing men because we have generations and generations of boys who were not raised to be men and rise to that occasion.
It's killing men because we are not in a position capitalistically where we can have men be the one single head of the household, the breadwinner, the decision maker.
So let's just take ourselves a step back, because this is directly relevant to the next prompt. So I want you to keep this in mind as we get to the next prompt. We have 8 women sitting here talking about how men feel and why men do the things that they do. So does it make more sense for us to think that the woman who is saying the things that us men actually are agreeing with have a better understanding of life and the world? Or is the elitist person who thinks that they know us better than us, is that who we should be listening to? Think about that. So he says, I feel like if women feel oppressed, they are doing it to themselves. Not the only ones.
We are no longer in the 1950s. Our economy is
exactly. You've got all the rights you need, honey. So shut the fuck up.
not able to handle that kind of nuclear family.
How is it that you could know that when the overwhelming majority of society was built around having nuclear families, and only now, when society is crumbling, do we see the lack of the nuclear family? You're flipping it. You're flipping it. It's like, well, society is bad, and there's no more nuclear families. Therefore, society must be good, and the nuclear family must be bad. So close, honey. So close. But just not quite. Ron said helicopter parenting and participation trophies ruining the younger generation. Yep, that's the millennials right here. We are the participation trophy generation, and you are correct, sir.
With the man being the head of the household, the stay-at-home moms, and the 2.5 children.
And just to, before she goes on, because I know what's her face here is gonna stand up for us, but Ricky here is trying to say, you know, that she knows all these things about why men do this, that, and that. What did we just hear a story about a man and a woman? I'm pretty sure it was the situation where the woman was the head of the household and both people, include all three, not just the people in the relationship, but now the daughter, years later, is mentally fucked up because of it. Seems like the family structure that brought us to where we are was doing fine. Didn't need to mess with that.
I want to clarify, I'm not a stay-at-home mom.
No,
I do work,
I
and so I
understand.
do have perspective. When you are in a long-term marriage or relationship with a partner of anyone, yes, you're going to have disagreements, but you also have to understand that each person in that partnership does have roles, because that is how a healthy family functions.
No, roles are evil.
Only women.
All right. So remember, I wanted you to keep that in mind about the women who are speaking to what us men are agreeing with. Who should we listen to? So now the new prompt is only women should make laws about women's bodies. Well, let's see who steps forward. I'm going to guess all of the feminists are going to step forward. And I'm going to go with, let's say one. Let's say one of the anti-feminists.
Should make laws about women's bodies.
They're going to run for that one.
I'm going to add a
Oh,
minor
okay.
caveat to
There
this
she
and not
goes.
say that like entirely
Oh,
just women
I
should
saw
make
movement.
laws about women's bodies. And I think it's more important that people who are educated on the female body are the people who are allowed to make laws about the female body. Like, we shouldn't have.
And there she is. Of course. Only women should be allowed to talk about women's bodies, but we should be able to talk about all men and how they are useless and you should repair that. The irony and the hypocrisy is, it would be ironic. It would be ironic, but it's not. This is the way it is set up. And I mean, it's, I'm really speechless here. I don't understand how you could be so obtuse and hold such conflicting ideas in your mind at the same time with a straight face. It's crazy to me. It has also been proven that when a woman is the breadwinner of the household, she usually tends to exercise her options. Yep, I mean, if you've ever been in a relationship, not a marriage even, but go out with a girl who makes some bank. Go out with a girl who makes more money than you. See how happy she is when you take her to Applebee's instead of Fogo. Come on.
Have lawmakers making laws stating, oh, abortion is completely illegal, even if it's an ectopic pregnancy, you can reinsert that fetus. No, you're killing people if you make that kind of stupid law.
Hey, we got Ezekiel in the building. What is good? Welcome to the party. Ezekiel says, at this point, women just keep digging their own holes. They have a rude awakening ahead. Men are done taking their shit. Too many 304s in America. Hell yeah. I am right there with you, Ezekiel. Welcome to the party. Mike says, how did you think about this when you were on the left? So, I mean, even though I was, a liberal, it was more by default. So if you think about what the world was like around 2012 and, in the Obama years, unless you were really in the weeds, then there wasn't such a need to plug into let's just say current events as much, because everything was behind closed doors and this facade of what was just maintained. And so I didn't really have to think about it. If you asked me about it, I definitely would, would say, like, of course women don't appreciate men. Of course feminism is stupid, even as a liberal. But now it's just, I didn't know it could go so far. I really didn't. Dr. Genius says, even when women have their lifestyles paid for by men, they still cheat. Why wouldn't they? No consequences. Why wouldn't they? You can tell me again how many women ruled on Roe v. Wade in 73? Mike says, women didn't want more materialistic stuff. Men can provide their needs on their own. Yep. And Dr. Eva Genius on the left and still strongly disagrees with feminism. Yeah, it's it's not something that's straight down the aisle. when it comes to this stuff because it's so directly relevant to just your everyday interactions. And so while you're able to kind of stay away from should we be at war and is this politician good or is this propaganda, away from that stuff. You don't need to be focusing on that stuff to understand, oh, women are behaving a certain way, men are behaving a certain way, and it's not the same, and they're not being treated the same. Even though they're pushing that we should be treated the same. And then they got that, and they kept pushing for more rights so that not only are we not treated the same, but now they're treated better. There's plenty of liberal men who will tell you that.
It doesn't mean that any of our male lawmakers can't be involved.
And frankly, I think they need to be a little bit more.
Oh, thank you. How many? Imagine if no man in government were ruling on porridge. There'd be like 6 bitches in a room. Like, all right, I guess we're deciding this for the whole country.
Involved. Some of them are slacking.
Yes.
They are letting me down.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I think there are a lot of men who hold a lot of power who are on our side who are not doing enough.
I mean, you can't disagree with that. There's a lot of feminist men. There's a lot of pro-choice men. There's a lot of all of that. Who, they're doing their part, I guess. But yeah, they are doing their part. That's why you still think the stupid shit that you think.
I want to say it's funny because I think you.
So remember, this is the people who disagree with the prompt. Only women should make laws about women's bodies.
You all spoke for us because I think you all agreed that everyone should be involved in making these laws. We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women these days.
Men can't be women if they actively identify as men. That's not a thing.
Are you telling me I don't exist?
I currently identify as a man.
Okay, then you're a man. Congrats.
Yo, what the fuck did you? This is the depth of your ideology. I'm gonna come back right to this. Like, what? This is how your ideology is defeated?
We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women these days.
Men can't be women if they actively identify as men. That's not a thing.
Okay, so men cannot be women. Okay.
I currently identify as a man.
Okay, then you're a man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you agree that
I mean, that is straight out of a sitcom. That is straight out of a sitcom. Like, this cannot happen. Well, okay. All right. Like, I guess. Yeah. Right? So does Eagle say, we all used to be on the left once upon a time. Back in 2012, I was a Democrat. Changed around 2018 and completely walked away. Same. The male self-deletion rate so high, but they don't give a fuck. No, they do not. But your Pete says, are non-male politicians not elected, at least in some part, by women? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. But they would say, well, because the patriarchy pushes these men, there's not enough women in a position to be in power. And some kind of bullshit like that.
these laws that are specific about our bodies should
Are they specific to your bodies? How do you know what's going on in my body? As a woman, I feel that I should have a right in determining this policy. It doesn't matter that I don't have a uterus. It doesn't matter that I can't get this procedure. I'm a woman, and therefore I am entitled. That's how you be a woman, right? WG says, does the right care about depressed men? I haven't seen much evidence of that. I usually just hear them use words like selfish and coward. So I would not disagree with you. There's absolutely a huge gap in care across the board for men and their well-being. I would say, though, that maybe these politicians don't give a fuck either way, but the policies that they are pushing absolutely will help these depressed men. And the liberal policies are the ones that bring us to where the self-deletion rate is what it is. In the film says, I could be wrong, but I think I heard about a woman that was pro-life once. They do exist. And there's 3 of them. 3 of them. I don't know.
shouldn't the originators of that bill talking about our bodies be women?
Answer that. Can y'all?
No.
She's like, yo, that was a good answer that. All right, let's stop. Like she did something.
I don't think we should think about men versus women. I think we should have intelligent.
It's not about men versus women. Of course,
You just said It shouldn't be about men versus women, but it should be only the women who win.
Men are going to be involved with creating laws and putting laws into place.
Yeah, like we can put up with the men, but like.
But when we're talking about the language, when we're talking about verbiage for these laws, shouldn't a woman be multiple women, preferably, be involved? Yeah.
Yeah, involved, sure. Zika says, the men should be able to opt out of paying child support and check out of a pregnancy if women can. We have no rights when it comes to giving a woman our seed, 99% of the time. And I would prefer, even as a pro-choice person, when it comes to what I believe the government should be able to do, not do, say, and get in between you and your doctor. I don't believe the government should be able to do that. But I would much rather men being forced to pay child support. It takes two to tango. And the fact is, there's too many fucking babies around without fucking families. There's a lot of fucking, but there's no fucking families. So fucking fix it. I'm not out here slinging dick unwrapped. So I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing. Fix it. Jackie Virginia says there are pro-life liberal groups and pro-choice conservative groups. Definitely not a zero-sum situation. Correct, sir. Butcher Pete says a woman in the modern-day U.S. has the highest quality of life in human history, and they still complain. Are these women pushing for the draft? I mean, Pearl is, but you know, we're gonna leave that one right where it is.
Be at the forefront of what these laws look like for us.
I think.
Hey, honey, can you even tell me how a bill is made?
I think it's less about a man versus a woman and more about the way society is now versus 50 years ago. People that you didn't even vote for, that are spending lifelong terms in Congress and such. You know, that's in the Supreme Court. That's more of an issue to me than worrying about if a man or a woman wrote this law or bill.
There's checks and balances to our government, but I wanted to ask you, I'm a woman, I'm 100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify right now.
Fluid.
I'm switching back. Okay. No, very fluid by the hour. But
why would you even say that when you know you walked into that? You walked into that. Well, you're a woman now? Yeah. You got a problem with that? You don't think. Listen to it again. Let's just see it and
ask you, I'm a woman, I'm 100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify right now. Fluid. I'm switching back. Okay. No, very fluid by the hour. But would you be okay with, so I'm a woman now, for now, and I am very pro-life. You're okay with women like me making these laws? Because you disagree with the outcome there. I assume you're pro-choice, right?
But the law is, if we're talking about Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah.
The law is about, it's not about your ideal of pro-life. It's about abortion. It's about bodily autonomy. If you don't want to get an abortion, fine. That's what it's all about. It's your choice.
This is what we always talk about. We always talk about this. The left thinks the right is evil, and the right thinks the left is uninformed. Well, that's what it's all about. It's about choice. It's you're pro-life, so you believe it. No, honey. Sorry, that's not what it means. It means that you are not allowed to end another human life. You just said only women should be allowed to make these laws. But you wouldn't want a woman like her making those laws because then they would make the exact same laws as the men that you hate. So your argument is shit. Your argument is shit. Hey, we got just a cog in the fuckery in the building. What is going on? Yeah, so you missed the context for that a little bit. She was, one of the feminists was saying that no man who identifies as a woman could be a woman or whatever. And so one of the girls was like, okay, well, I identify as a man now. And that same feminist was like, okay, well, you're a man. And then she goes to make an actual point because she actually is a woman. And the feminist one tried to be smart. Oh, you're a woman now again? Yep. That's fine, right? Do you have a problem with that? Because that would be transphobic. And you're not transphobic, right? But welcome to the party. Welcome. Yes, Ariel. She is a gangsta.
I want to sort of reverse it and ask you the question. Should there be laws about women's bodies where there was no women involved? Because there certainly are.
Hey, we got Chester in the building, our resident Aussie. What is good? Said only women should make laws about female bodies equals only women and men I agree with should make laws about the female, about female bodies. Only the people I agree with. Exactly. Welcome, brother. Glad to see you, as always.
Right, but we live in a system of government where there are states' rights, and I live in California, and guess what? I don't agree with anything our governor is doing. I don't agree with the majority that is in our state legislature, yet I live here and I choose to live here, and if I have a problem with the laws, then I have the opportunity to move to a different state.
So just all the people who don't have the opportunity to move to a different state.
Everyone
then.
has opportunity to work, to
They
make a
don't.
life for themselves here in America.
They
What I
don't.
Yup.
love about America is that this is the only place on earth that you can work and achieve based on your merit.
I was raised by a single mom who,
America!
didn't have the support she needed to really mother me. So by the time I was 15, I moved out of her.
Are you sure about that? Maybe, just like you, she was brainwashed into believing that she was oppressed by some patriarchy. Maybe she was just, and that was an excuse for her not to be a better person. Much like all of you are pieces of shit because of what you think.
her home. And I lived with a boyfriend at the time. I fought my school board
Feel bad for him.
for better sex education. I fought my senator when he voted to repeal funding for Title X and birth control access to funding. I relied
And why do you think that didn't work? Maybe, just maybe, people don't agree with you.
on. And I told him, why would you deny me the American dream? And I shared with him that birth control was helping me to be successful, to go on to higher education. And now I'm on a full ride at Columbia University. I'm the first in my family to go to college. And in large part, that is because of access to birth control.
And I'm so oppressed because of these. Wait, what? Full ride to Columbia? I thought we were talking about oppression here.
You guys mentioned that, there's not everyone has a bootstrap. And this is why feminism is such a weird topic to have in this particular country, because I'm from a developing country, I'm from Nigeria. Although my parents were quite successful, thankfully, but I grew up around poverty. I saw it every single day. And so to come to this country, to have to start over and make something of ourselves, and I see immigrants do it all the time. When you say things like, oh, I was raised by a single mother, or, most people don't have bootstraps, you're in America. That's like, this is
the place to do
This is
it.
the place to do it. Find that boots. honey,
There
and put it
you
on.
go. Oh, I love that zoom. I love that they just did that. They zoomed in on this bitch and said, how dare you? But I can't say anything because you're black and you're an immigrant, even though I disagree with you. Look at it again. Oh my God. That was beautiful editing.
Okay.
Look
That's
at it.
like,
Ready? Look at it. All right.
this is
This is the place to
this
do
is the
it.
place to do it. Find that boots, honey, and put it on.
No
And
one's saying
so
that there aren't
let's just
challenges.
find out
We're saying that this is the best place
place to
to
do it.
have that challenge.
And I quickly want
The
to
challenges are not distributed equally.
Nobody said
Yes, they
that.
are. Let me just.
Somebody did. To say that only women should make decisions about women's bodies is completely unrealistic.
I have to believe that there is a future where that is possible.
Well, of course there's a future. More women than ever are serving in our government. Of course there's a future. So of course women
Yep.
always have a seat at the table.
Exactly. What is it exactly, specifically, that you want, that you believe you are entitled to, justly, righteously, that you are not getting? I would love to end this whole conversation by just voting to give you whatever you think it is, if you deserve it. But I don't know what that thing would be. What exactly is it that you want here?
Columbia. Look at you. You moved out at 15. You're at Columbia. You're
Yeah, but when I
here.
graduated from UC Berkeley and I was in my lecture halls, there were 2 other Black people, and it's 400 people in here. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
It's not that we
Okay, then that makes you racist, honey. Not everybody else. That makes you racist. If you are uncomfortable by the color of other people's skin, I'm pretty sure that's the definition of racism.
We look at everything through an oppressive lens. It's that many of us hold different identities that allow society to continue to oppress us. A friend of
Tell her.
mine had to travel across.
All right, so before she goes into that story, Jessica Cox said, as the only female here, so we're gonna get whatever she says, we gotta go with it, because as men, we have no idea. But Jessica Cox says, birth control and success have nothing to fucking do with each other. It's called not being irresponsible on one hand and driven on the other. That's why I love you, girl. This is why I love you. Oh, Jesus. Chester, the Aussie, talking about the American dream. Okay. Quote, the American dream? We don't have a dream in Britain because we're bloody awake. Oh, Murray. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, I would definitely, wait, which one of our countries had concentration camps in the last 3 years? Oh, yeah, that was Australia. My bad.
State for an abortion. She had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the
Oh, yeah,
things
let's
that
go
she
back.
needs
Let's go
for
back.
her
Let's go back.
disability,
Oh, shit. I
or
almost-
traveling for an abortion.
Hold on,
Like,
hold on. Sorry, that was me. I was not paying attention.
It's hold
And I don't
different
have to
ideas.
fucking
Like
make
that
excuses
makes
for
me
you.
uncomfortable.
It's not that we look at everything through an oppressive lens. It's that many of us hold different identities that
No, you do look at everything through an oppressive lens. There may be other things happening in your mind, but also, yes, you did. Read the news. Myron said it's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
allow society to continue to oppress us. A friend of mine had
Okay.
to travel across state for an abortion.
Traveling
She
us-
had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the things that she needs for her disability, or traveling for an abortion.
That is why you shouldn't be fucking raw when you have shit to worry about. It's called being responsible. It's called being an adult. It's called having consequences for the things that you do and the choices that you make. If you knew that you had this disability, unless magically it appeared, then you did know you had this disability. You did know you had these financial burdens, and then you wouldn't be able to take care of a child. But yet, you just had to get raw dogged, right? You just had to get raw dogged.
Like, you guys don't have to think about that.
But that
She
was
has
No, I don't have to think about that because I have condoms in my drawer.
Her
Decision
choice, decision.
to have sex.
like, no,
Unless it wasn't,
she
then
was
I'm
being
agree.
raped.
No, then I agree with you.
Raped.
Then I agree with you.
Okay,
But
I
all
see.
that-
But I
Of course,
shouldn't have to. But I shouldn't have to tell you that story.
Absolutely, you should. That changes the entire scenario. That changes the entire story. If she didn't choose it, that is the entire point. That is the entire point. And again, they just don't get it. They don't get it. They are committed to their ignorance. I shouldn't have to tell you that. I shouldn't have to tell you details about my story for you to understand what I'm saying. You should just know.
For you to understand that there are certain things that you have not experienced that oppress other people.
Who said that we didn't understand that we even not experience things that oppress other people? That is a straw man.
Oh, okay, you're just traumatized enough for me to understand that maybe things are hard.
No, it's that what you are doing is ending a human life. And so what we are going to determine is enough for that. Not if your trauma is enough, because maybe you're traumatized more than the girl who was RP'd because your feminist bullshit led you to believe that because you have regret that was RP. So maybe she's more traumatized than the girl who's pregnant. I don't fucking care. That I didn't traumatize her. And all I care about is not killing children in this context. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Feminism that doesn't include trans women isn't feminism.
We know all that. They haven't, they didn't even finish reading it, and they're all running up. They're all running up. And we know Ariel, this is the whole reason Ariel, switched up her channel, and she used to be super LGBT, whatever. They added the Q, then they added the I, then they added the P's and the Q's and the. I can't wait to hear from Ariel on this one. She is going to go.
Surprised to see
Oh,
No. Okay, good.
I am. All right. Feminism that doesn't include trans women isn't feminism, and Ariel agrees. Okay, let's see.
You know, it's really important to include trans women and trans people and gender nonconforming people. Which,
Isn't that?
by the way, I am
Nah.
gender queer myself. I don't actually identify as a woman.
Oh, wow. Now you're so much more special than you were before.
It's really important that those of us who do have privileges like speak up for trans women in the community, especially because they're the most at risk for hate crimes.
I also want to just level set and say that
Well, except for men, right?
we are having this conversation without trans women, right? We are sitting here today.
She literally just told you she's non-binary. She literally just said that.
Do we know that for sure?
I identify as
She's on a
trans.
feminist. Hold on. She identifies as non-binary, and she's on a feminist panel.
my pronouns-
So maybe she doesn't belong here either. They don't belong here.
Plot twist, I am biologically female and I'll never deny that. I lived as a woman for most of my life. I am 31. I only came out a couple of years ago.
Unfortunately, honey, I have a secret to tell you. You're still living as a woman.
Spent a lot of time, the majority of my life in these spaces with women that
does give me a kind of unique perspective now being a trans non-binary person.
Oh, wow. I'm trans and not binary, but I've also been a woman for my whole life. So that actually allows me to spit my stupid opinions that have nothing to do with anything. But I'm just going to, read off my entire sexual history that has nothing to do with anything.
There's an issue with categorizing womanhood as a means of female. Earlier, it was mentioned by somebody on the anti-trans side about trans women coming in and taking over sports and things like that.
The anti-trans side? I'm sorry. What? I don't remember there being an anti-trans side. I thought this was an anti-feminist thing. But now if you're anti-feminist, you're anti-trans, according to Ricky. I don't want to misgender. Oh, snap! Got him! Exactly, Doc. I mean, nail on the head. Nail on the head. Comment of the night. Butcher Pete says, watch how quickly that just deteriorated over the possibility that there might have been somebody not being recognized. Yep. It's a sickness. It's a sickness of the highest order. Just the only thing this proves is that no one can agree on what feminism means. Yeah, they said that before you got here. They 2 or 3 times. They specifically said that. Well, feminism is anything that you really want it to be. And Dr. Vagenius, again with an amazing comment, said if there isn't a consistent definition, the term means nothing. Feminism is a useless word that doesn't mean anything. It means that's what it means. The feminists are That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Feminism has come full circle where if you don't believe that, shout out to Abba and Preach, if you don't believe that my penis belongs in the woman's restroom, then you are a bigoted person. Okay, whatever you say. Dietrich says the Me Too movement was created to bring forth the unheard cries of women who are paid and bring evil to justice. Women didn't care about women enough to not ruin it with falsities. Women don't respect women. On point. I mean, I don't have anything to add to that. You guys are on point tonight. Let's fucking do
that, which is just not true.
That is true.
It's not.
It is. I can show you.
Wait, what are they arguing about?
Earlier, it was categorizing womanhood as a means of female. Earlier, it was mentioned by somebody on the other.
Look what you said. Anti-trans side. Nobody's anti-trans here. You're just projecting.
On the anti-trans side about trans women coming in and taking over sports and things like that, which is just not true.
That is true.
It's not.
It is. I can show you a number of cases. There might be people that also haven't.
No, I can show you a number.
Trans women retain 30% of their biological advantage.
That is not
if
true.
they went through male puberty. Yes, it is.
That is.
Yes, it is.
That is not.
Let's not argue it. That's not even the prompt. We're not going to argue about that.
Because you're wrong.
If you are a trans woman.
Bro, like, you know that you haven't looked this up. You know that you haven't looked this up. She's spitting facts. She's spitting statistics at you, and you know that you haven't looked this up. So what? The audacity. The audacity. I would be so embarrassed. I would be so embarrassed if I was making such a sweeping statement about something, and someone was like, actually, no, boom, 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 boom. And I would just, no, no. That's straight up narcissism. It's a sickness. Jessica Cox says, as a woman, I hardly take feminists seriously myself because they're all over the place. That's why we like you. That's why we like you.
Woman, and you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man. You do not belong in women's spaces. I don't care what anybody says. I think that's ridiculous, and I think even trans women that have gender dysphoria that go through transition will agree with me.
This makes me so incredibly uncomfortable that we're even having this conversation.
Oh, you're uncomfortable. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're here to have a conversation about feminism. If you don't want to have a conversation about feminism, that's fine. But that's what's happening here. So I don't really know what it is, again, that you would like. I'm uncomfortable, so somebody fix it. I'm not comfortable, so somebody needs to fix it right now. Say this is the patriarchy. Butcher Pete says she doesn't care if she's getting smacked with facts, numbers, and stats because she wants to live in her fantasy. You mean her truth. No, she wants to live in her fantasy land where she's being oppressed and has a noble goal to fight for. Exactly. This is it. This is it. This is the entirety of the leftist agenda. Now, not all liberals are leftists, and I know people use these words differently. Like a bunch of people here are consider themselves liberal. Dr. Virginius considers himself a liberal. A lot of you consider yourself more liberal than myself. A lot of you consider me more liberal than you. But it's it's that threshold of just out there shit is the leftist shit. And it's taken such a stronghold that it's honestly really sad. Dietrich says, I'm surprised she doesn't have a notepad to tally up her woke points. She's probably up she's probably 7 points away from a small Starbucks latte. Got him!
Go back over there.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Have gender dysphoria that go through transition will agree with me.
This makes me so incredibly uncomfortable that we're even having this
You
conversation.
could go back
about
over
that.
there if you really wanted to.
Ooh. If we took all
Ooh! So Dr. Richardson, could I be a conservative leftist? I don't believe so. Maybe. I'd really have to think about that. I don't think so. But my intention is to say no, and I think that you're just a based liberal. I mean, that's it. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a liberal. I don't think there's anything great about being a conservative. But I don't think I would call you conservative or leftist. I would just call you liberal. But certainly not leftist. And that's why we're friends. Always. Them bitches going after that pumpkin spice like it's never coming back.
all of that off the table, right? If we're not talking about who can play sports with whom, can people exist as who they are?
Absolutely.
It sounded like
Yep.
you were saying if a trans woman doesn't look like what you perceive as looking like a woman,
Then she can't play sports, and therefore that means she doesn't exist. That's how that works, right?
they shouldn't be in feminist spaces.
I didn't say that. I said they shouldn't be in female spaces,
Okay.
not feminist spaces.
Okay.
I think women,
I disagree with that, but
that's
okay.
fine. It makes sense to biologically classify people. It also makes sense to socially classify people. Let's say my friend Blair White was sitting right here. It's my buddy, love her. She's sitting.
Shout out to Blair White. Yo, I'm gonna get a little. Whoo! This is an anonymous poll. This is an anonymous poll, but I want everyone to hit it. All right. If you don't, then it just means that you are whatever the thing that you don't want to be. That's you. If you don't answer this, there you go. Mr. Cog, I'm looking at you too. So Butcher Pete said, I think you'd be a traditional liberal who would have loved pre-2010 America. Absolutely. I often call myself a 2015 liberal because before Trump came in and changed the entire way that making politics pop culture, and that's all anybody ever talked about. Before that, that was the default. I was like, well, obviously, I'm not, I'm an atheist, and I don't think there's anything wrong with gay people getting married. That's really all it is. But it's become so much more in the last decade. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Dr. Blue Genius says, I just don't think people should. I just don't think people should just be able to do whatever without negative consequences. Exactly. Dan asked, why do we need those labels? Well, okay, I'll agree with the first half in the sense that nobody needs the labels. They're not useless, though. They are very useful in terms of categorizing other things in a way so that when we're trying to have a sure. But the use is that if I want to talk about solutions to a certain issue, then if you can come into the conversation labeling some of your starting points, then we don't have to start at the base level, which Chester, I know you would love. Be like, okay, so do you believe that there's value in human life? Okay, do you believe that a human, like, you would have to go through every single point of every little aspect of the issue before you get into it? Whereas if you can say, okay, I'm more liberal when it comes to this, I'm a little bit more conservative, that gives you a starting point. Does that give you exactly a definition? No, But it's not like what these women are saying. Feminism, this could be whatever you want. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it just doesn't necessarily have a strict subset of characteristics. It might not be as a well-defined label as some others, but I do think they are very useful. I think people definitely get way too into them. That's for sure. I mean, that was the case. That's the case with any kind of label. I mean, we grew up in the 2000s with the emo movement, and the labels were. Remember when those were the labels we cared about? Like, I'm not emo. I'm metal. I'm not, those were the labels that we cared about. And everybody was like, oh, I don't care about labels. Just listen to music. It's like, okay, so you don't give a shit about, you just want me to put on music. And then you put on something. Oh, you're a poser for listening to this. Like, well, I thought you just like music. So, I just, again, disagree. I think labels are a way to, categorize things and help the larger conversations instead of having to start at ground zero with every conversation. Dietrich says, let's narrow the argument to support my agenda. Gets hit with factual societal concerns. But why can't people exist? Exactly. All right. Let's back it up a little
I think women.
I disagree with that, but
That's
okay.
fine. It makes sense to biologically classify people. It also makes sense to socially classify people. Let's say my friend Blair White was sitting right here. It's my buddy. Love her.
Oh, yeah.
She's sitting right here. Do I think she lives her life as a man? No. Like we were talking about men making decisions for women as far as abortions are concerned. That's something she'll never experience.
There are women who biologically cannot produce. There are females, people assigned female at birth, who biologically cannot produce. Are you saying that those female women should not be able to have say in those laws?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I guess my main issue with trans women being seen as women and not being seen as trans women is they're changing the definition of women and expecting everybody to go along with that. And that affects me, that they are. And that affects me directly. You say trans women.
Exactly.
It's a very different experience.
Trans women are women.
Are they though? Of course not. Because then why are you saying trans? That's how language works. If women were women, then women would just be women. But women aren't just women. Women are women. And trans women are not women. That is why we have the word trans. That is how language works. Good job. So yeah,
we're just gonna agree to disagree with that. If you ask feminists at a women's march what a woman is, they can't even define it. How can you protect something and empower something that you don't even know the actual definition of?
Well, I will say J.K. Rowling calls herself a feminist and was canceled for not being pro-trans, which is kind of overtaking, reversing some of the work feminists have done in the past.
She's a billionaire.
Well, they criticize her.
Fine.
She's fine.
She's fine. That is such cope. It's like, okay, so she's fine. So it doesn't matter that injustices were, that injustice happened. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. She's fine, right?
Are hurt. I'm so saddened for her. Feminist movement does not allow anyone to have any other opinions but what you guys think is correct.
Though? Because she's allowed to have that opinion, and she still makes a bunch of money.
Yes, she does.
What do
Not according to you, she's not allowed to have that opinion.
trans women take away from women in the feminist movement?
The definition of words and what that means and how that affects us directly.
Look at that response. I have an entire channel dedicated to how changing the definitions of words affects us directly. But when this person, which, by the way, real quick, I just want to point out something that I heard on, I actually heard on TikTok. And somebody was talking about pronouns and this and that. We know what that they, people use they, them pronouns. They and them are plural. What's the singular version of the word they? It. Oh, but they don't like that. They don't like that. How dare you call me he or she? Okay, then I'll call you it. You don't like words. Now listen, look at the facial expression when somebody brings up the notion that words should have meanings and that obscuring those meanings might affect people. Look at her fucking face.
That opinion, and she still makes a bunch of money.
Yes, she does.
What do trans women take away from women in the feminist movement?
The definition of words.
Look, ready? I'm gonna full screen it. Look, this is the back of her head. They're gonna spin around. Look at it.
And what that means and how that affects us directly.
Can you expand on that?
Yes.
Can you expand on that? Now, I mean, credit for asking. Hey, Dr. Evil Genius has to dip out. Thank you so much for stopping by. Drop your link before you go. Please go check out his channel. Awesome content creator. And definitely help me get my start as well. Have a good one, brother. Have a good one. Thank you, Pete. Very much appreciated, guys. Very, very, very much appreciated. But yeah, I'm curious to, because this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing, that you can't just change the meaning of words without changing the society, because the society is based on the words that we use. I missed that one before. Like, good one. Dietrich goes on to say, I want to be taken seriously, but I waste money and Kool-Aid at the same time to dye my hair like a 14-year-old. But how dare, that's transphobic. Just, that was exactly my point about labels. I still stand by opinion that they are useless. I'm not doing this with you here.
When you change the word woman, legally it has implications. Sexually, it has implications.
But the word woman
directly
has changed throughout histories, throughout different cultures. Indigenous people have had different genders, different ways of looking at gender. The Torah specifically has 8 different genders, and we have recognized that for over 3,000 years. You're denying anybody's culture that does not agree with your perception and your worldview, because you hold so highly onto your identity and you see it as an attack on.
And what was the biological understanding of the human body when whatever number of genders she was talking about was written in the Torah or whatever? I'm going to guess that we have a little bit better handle on science and biology now than we did back then. Just saying.
On who
So
you
do you
are.
all of on sexual orientation.
feminists as a
But
whole,
it's
though.
nothing to do with sexual.
It has exactly to do with sex. When you change the word woman and a lesbian is a woman that is attracted to women, how is that not directly affecting us?
What defines a woman is being born with biological women's parts, and that is what a woman is. And trans women are individuals who choose to live their lives as women, and I honor that. And everyone deserves dignity and respect.
I said shit. Me too. You'll hear a lot of conservatives or people who are not for all this gender bender bullshit that say, "Oh, I don't care if you do." I do care. I do care. I want you to be happy. I want people to be happy. I just don't want you to change society so that the rest of us, including myself, can't be happy. I want you to be happy, but not at the expense of my well-being. And for you to say that that is transphobic is, I mean, the entitlement is crazy. So yeah, our poll, 50-50. I'm going to be straight up with y'all. Blair White I would take a guac 5,000 from her any day. I would not go down below, but lips are lips, you know what I mean? Ben Shapiro has already debunked the whole Torah with 8 genders crap. Well, why does that not surprise me?
And I mean that. But at the same time, there are universal truths. And we have, as a society, gotten to this confusing tangled place where there's your truth, your truth, your truth, your truth. There is one objective truth in what we are.
Can you explain to me the women in Guatemala who are...
No! I don't even know what the fuck you're going to say, but how does that change what you're talking about? So let's see. Let's see if we can explain something that completely debunks all of human biology.
There is one objective truth in what we are.
Can you explain to me the women in Guatemala who are born female, who are assigned female at birth, and then during puberty grow penises?
I can't explain it because I don't know anything about
that. Sounds like an intersex condition.
You try to, again, how feminists always try to tell us how we should live our life. I said I was a raging feminist. She goes, I don't believe that.
I don't see that. I mean, what you've been saying, I can't see any traces of feminism.
So when Isabel said, "Oh, I don't see that," and the other one, the black one, says, "Well, I go into a room and there's 400 white people, and that makes me feel uncomfortable." That's not privilege. But this is, or I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. I do not fucking get it. You should just come from a conservative with a passion for humanity. Do what you do. Just don't touch my kids. or try to make them question who they are. Exactly. Why is that so hard? Why is that so difficult? Why do they need to be so ingrained in your life, in my life, and all of our lives? I'll tell you why. Because they hate their own. So they want to take over yours. Trey says, I love my excuse. We know you do. We know you do. No, they're the only feminists I accept. I mean, if you're going to accept a feminist, she better be promiscuous. There ain't no other use for a feminist. Any film says, yes, I can explain it. It didn't happen. No, I mean, I'm sure she's referencing something that has some basis in reality. Does it negate the entirety of human biology? Of course not.
In
My
what you're
mother
saying.
is literally.
We
the
heard a lot about your
poster
mom, but
of
what about
feminism.
you?
I am a woman. Looking at me, I am a woman. Born and raised
I said shit. Me too.
a woman. Why are
For now.
we trying to write women, born biological women? Why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that.
So I want to hear her answer to that. But Butcher Pete says, because they know their political opinions wouldn't last through a generation if they didn't indoctrinate others' children. One more horn for Butcher Pete. Exactly, brother. Exactly. Mike says, I don't have a problem with... Take two. I don't have a problem with Blair White using a woman's restroom. She looks and acts like a woman. But some of these dudes that say they're women don't act the part. Here's the fucking thing. I agree with you. And here's the thing. Trans women who actually cared about passing as women have been using the women's bathroom forever. The only reason that this is a conversation is because those actual, trans people or the feminists that are brainwashed want to be so tolerant that they will tolerate the abuse of their ideology. They will not acknowledge that two things can be true at the same time. That there can be a person like Blair White, who we all have no problem using the women's restroom. And then there's people like, I don't know, pick a fucking weirdo who has no desire to do anything except steal these spaces. And so that's exactly what they're talking about. It's about erasing women. I love women. I don't want to erase women. And I sure as shit don't want to live in a society where we don't differentiate between biological women and trans women. So, and this is exactly what they're talking about.
I am a woman. Looking at me, I am a woman. Born and raised a woman. Why are we trying to write women, born biological women? Why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that there's a biological reality of male and female. Scientists do not agree with you.
Scientists that you choose to agree with. I mean, you can find a study and a scientist to back up anything you want to prove
Well,
these days.
I choose to do peer-reviewed studies and not ones that are backed by political agenda.
You sure about that? You sure you're sure about that? You sure you're sure about that?
And I'm sorry that my peer-reviewed studies tend to agree with the fact that trans women are women and that biology, it does not exist in a binary.
I was going to say, but you can see Ariel smiles like, yo, you are so fucking brainwashed that you think that you can't possibly be that there is anything other than what you think and what you believe. It's arrogance. It's arrogance.
Never has and it never will.
Never has, never will. I know the future.
We crave men's approval.
Ooh, okay. There is no way. Maybe the non-binary one. But if these feminists don't walk forward and they're not gay, I'm flipping out. I'm ending the show.
Yeah. Men's approval has kept me safe in so many ways. Being desirable, being fuckable has kept me safe many a time. And it's no secret. I guess that's where I disagree. It's no secret that sometimes men's approval is what stands between me and safety. I
don't love it, but that's a good point. I don't love that. Hey, that's a good point.
I believe that the reason why I waited so long to come out with my transness is because I was afraid of losing male approval. It is so
Your fears were justified.
embedded into our society. I really pushed myself to present in a way that wasn't authentic to me for men.
I'm trying to unlearn this like very actively and trying to fight for nobody's approval but myself. Like, because it's not even that I
Yeah, because why would you care about other people? Like, other people.
should have men's approval, or I should need men's approval or women's approval. I should need my own approval.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this prompt I think might be surprising for some folks to see us sitting here.
Yeah.
Because we're like so feminist,
sure.
but like,
But
you
it's a
know.
reminder that this work doesn't happen in a vacuum, and that because I am implicated in what is
They couldn't go how long into this thing? So this chapter started at okay, let's see. They sat down at 39:57. We're at 40 minutes in, and they're already patting themselves on the back for wanting male attention. These are real people. These are the people that vote. So when you ask, how does somebody like John Fetterman get in office? Dietrich says, I would take a chugga. I would take a chugga. That's funny because in my world, from the meta world, that's a music thing. Chugga. More like a guac. I would take a guac from Blair White over the woman on the right. Who's a compulsive liar. I said, shit, me too.
happening, right? In the issues. I am implicated in the issues. That's why I do the work, because I am impacted by them.
Wow, you're so special and amazing. What would we do without you?
I've never thought of a moment where I thought to myself, oh, I wish that man would find me sexy, because
Stop the cat.
I feel so empowered in myself.
I told you. What the fuck did I say? Even the anti-feminists who are here to represent how bad feminism is are still spitting this feminist dogma. So when I say it's all of them, it is all of them. Butcher Pete says, other people's perception of you 100% affect how you view yourself, the opportunities that are offered up to you. It is important to set a good perception of yourself without taking it too seriously. 100%. I'll go one step further from Crowder's. What is this? I don't know what this is supposed to do. I'll go one step further than Crowder. There are 0 genders. Change my mind. Fair enough. I mean, I can't argue with that.
Always dressed like this from head to toe, covered usually from head to toe, and
It's too sexist.
I don't think I've ever experienced a woman, perhaps subconsciously, but I don't think I've ever. And I think that's also why with my platform now that I switched from a raging feminist to femininity, which I was, and you can't tell me what I was and who I was. I had the shaved head, the armpit hair, all of it.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. And when I went from that to that, now I teach women how to dress modern and cover up and be feminine and soft and all of that.
Who are you dressing modern and modest for?
For myself, because it empowers me. I am Nigerian first and foremost, and because of that, in our culture, we've always been very modest. We didn't even have a word for it.
So even within the feminist mindset that, I'm just here for me and nobody else matters but me and me and me and my truth and even inside that ideology, she's now convinced herself that all the things that she does are just for her. That is feminism. I'm not saying that every aspect of feminism is always bad all of the time. That's not what I'm saying. But clearly, it's not helping these women. Jessica Cox says, I don't give a fuck what they say. Male attention matters to women. The only ones who say they don't care are the ones who get it. Or the lesbians. But even still, I feel like, I mean, maybe this is a male thing, but even a chick who I'm not necessarily trying to get with, there's a different energy when it's just men versus when there's women around. And so, even if, I like you personally, just a cock, I would, when, just like I want approval from everybody in the Discord, but especially, as a woman, we don't have many women. And so the notion to be like, okay, I want to show her that, this isn't a creepy place. And we're all these things, I want that approval. And so I think I think even, outside of sexuality, and I mean, I'm not saying completely outside, but I'm just saying, come on. Dietrich says, these women show why the term is attention whore and not attention douchebag, asshole, insert male insult title here. Great point. All right, so I think we got. So I want to finish this prompt of I secretly crave men's approval. There's one more, and then we're actually doing a little bit of a special panel today in the Discord. We have the Steven Crowder and the Steven Crowder episode of Timcast that I don't know about y'all, but I am dying to watch. And then we have the new episode of The Last of Us, which we've been watching together. Both we are going to watch tonight in the panel. So we're not really going to be talking about feminism and stuff. But usually, as soon as the stream is over, we go right over to Discord so that we don't have to worry about, the YouTube overlords, so that we can actually discuss all of this stuff in a way that, we don't have to worry about that. I'm down, if you guys have thoughts, but I really, there is just a burning desire to hear what Crowder has to say. So let's do it. And if you'd like to come along, the link is in the description, and it is completely free. For now.
Just that's how women.
But if you join while it's free, it stays free.
Dress with layer on top of layers on top of layers. And I remember when I first, became a feminist and movement and I would show skin, I always felt so uncomfortable.
Why did you feel uncomfortable with showing your skin? I'm not saying that.
Because it's natural to not want to show to preserve yourself, to preserve. That is what women need to do. They have always needed to do. And so even if we live in a world where maybe being a little promiscuous isn't the worst thing, maybe showing some skin is normalized, it's still not in line with how you are wired to operate.
That's wrong. I'm just asking out of curiosity why you felt uncomfortable, like what the root of that discomfort was.
Because it's not who I am.
But I also think we'd be denying reality if we said when we put clothes on the morning, we didn't think about the way that we would navigate the world in them, right? The way that people would perceive us and think about us. And it's definitely worth noting that clothing choices are also about access to power, access to moving through spaces, being seen as acceptable in certain spaces, right?
Like covering up, not necessarily because you feel like that empowers you, but covering up because it's a sense of safety. Like so many, one of the things that we have to
safety. Okay, whatever.
That with my job, we have to correct officers on, when an assault victim comes forward, they're not allowed to ask, what were you wearing?
Because that's completely irrelevant, right? I'm not saying that it's not. I don't even think I could go there, but you know what the fuck I mean. But I wonder if she would be all up in a Muslim woman's face about, well, why do you feel so uncomfortable showing skin? No, she wouldn't, because that's that there's diversity and intersectionality. You just understand cultures and blah blah blah. Say, Christ, we're still on the Crowder of DW thing. I might just have, oh yeah, I'm watching the whole fucking thing. I want to hear exactly what Crowder has to say. The fact that you don't understand, the entire world is talking about this, but the fact that you think it's no big deal is just is crazy to me. But do you, homie?
Because it's very bad. It's very it's very dehumanizing because it implies that
it was their fault.
That it was their fault.
I think we can all agree on that. I was assaulted, fully clothed, when I was only 12 years old. So, trust me, I know.
We're going to have a prompt that has to do with this.
Cool.
Yeah, I just don't really care about men. Men are not a part of my day. When I wake up in the morning, I think about how to be the baddest, how to step into myself. So if that's looking like you from head to toe or showing a little cleavage, it's going to be
cleavage. This is a sad, sad person. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I will bet my life savings in 20 years, this woman will be either unhappy and alone or unhappy and married to a bitch.
Be what it is, and men are gonna like the men I attract. They like me because I am like no one else they've met. They've never really experienced this new person. It's you don't know what their approval is. Especially when it comes to things like race and preference, and nothing that I do is gonna really be approved by men ever. So I might as well just do me.
But I do just want.
That is sad. That is sad. Nothing I do is going to be accepted. So instead of being a better person and doing things that will be accepted, I'm just going to stay a piece of shit and then blame everybody else for not accepting that I'm a piece of shit. All right. Do you, honey?
I want to say that men's approval, once again, it's not just about if they want to date you or marry you or have sex with you. It is about if they want to hire you, if they want you to be a part of their organization or their school. And so when we talk about wanting men's approval,
it's rational.
So the last prompt, I couldn't take any more of that bullshit. Last prompt. It is rational for women to fear men. Actually, I'm curious about what you guys think on this one. So it is rational for women to fear men. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So I'm gonna leave that up for a second. Hit that right quick if you wouldn't mind, and let's do it.
For women to fear men.
I wish I could vote.
Working with
3
sexual
votes.
assault and domestic violence victims every single day, it has completely just reopened my mind and my trauma, because I am a sexual assault survivor myself, which is why I got into the work that I do. It's every single woman, almost every single woman has some sort of story.
4
where
votes.
She was in a room or in a space with a man, and that man made her feel unsafe. And if every single woman has a story like that, it's rational.
Absolutely. And I think that's why, again, I know I'm bringing this back to the trans issue, but that's why I think it's important to define what a woman or man or male or female is. Like, if it's just something in your head, then why do we logically have to be afraid of that specific thing if it's just something in gender in your head?
Got him. So here, what do we got here? So, you know, so then don't answer it, Chester. I don't know what to do with it. Like, yeah, no, they're just spending thousands of dollars to bring people together and ask people this question because it's a stupid question, right? Nope, nobody's saying anything.
So there are biological differences that can make us fearful or make men react certain ways that are different than women.
Yes and no, but
there's
absolutely a different perception of a trans woman than a man. Like when,
maybe to you, but not to me.
In my experience, when women are with, like, in the same room as trans women, they're not as fearful of, like, oh my God, this person could assault me, because the likelihood of trans people assaulting women is so small.
Is it larger or smaller than the percentage chance of anyone attacking a man?
Like, it's practically
And there's
not.
a reason for
There's
that.
a reason for that.
I agree with that.
Isn't it?
Actual trans women. My
No,
point.
trans women, period, not actual or inactual.
No, there is a thing. People that are claiming the trans identity,
That's
but are not
against the
trans.
prompt.
That's true.
Men are not only scary because
And see, again, okay, so it took me a second. But listen to what Ariel was trying to say. She was trying to agree with big Jew woman, whatever the fuck her name is. She was trying to agree. But she heard what she wanted to hear. Actual or inactual. No, we're literally talking about people pretending to be trans with the explicit purpose of obscuring that notion that trans people should be accepted in different spaces so that they can assault people. She was agreeing with you, but you heard what you wanted to hear. Listen to it again.
So small, like, it's practically
and there's
not.
a reason for that.
And
There's a reason for that.
I agree with
Isn't
that.
And so, what did Ariel say? I agree with that.
Actual
And-
trans women. My
No,
point.
So she said actual trans women, meaning not like just a guy who is pretending to be trans. And what did she say?
Trans women, period, not actual or inactual.
No, there is a
We-
thing.
there's-
People that are claiming
we-
the trans identity,
That's
but are not
against the
trans.
prompt.
That's true.
And again, she tries to explain, not listening.
Men are not only scary because of their biological difference, they're strong or whatever, right? Some of the violence is that men can be abusive, harmful, and get away with it.
Yeah. What do you mean? Trans women, period. They can't happen. Trans women are biologically men. You're saying men can't hurt women? I can disagree with that one. But Pete says they want you to look because they want that positive affirmation that yes, you are attractive. Of course. And who wouldn't? I want that same fucking shit. I would love to get catcalled in the streets. Just because I only fear men when they act crazy. I've got more than enough of my own stories, but plenty of men aren't completely nuts. This is why we like her. Why can't more people in general just be normal ass fucking people? When we're talking about feminism, but it's dudes too. We know that it's all over the place. We just happen to be focusing on feminism today, but god damn, this is just you didn't need to say things like this 5 years ago. This was just accepted that, like, of course. But now you have to say things like this because this is what these women think. This is what men think. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's get one more. Give me one more. Half of you have voted. Give me one more vote. Salty says, women today, I am the baddest bitch. This is what feminism and the LGBTQ movement has done to modern women. Dietrich says, who decides what's actual or not actual? That is, so again, what you're hearing what this one heard. Actual, who decides? Nobody. But there is a clear difference between somebody who is actually a YouTuber and somebody who's pretending to be a YouTuber, right? Somebody who's a YouTuber has a YouTube channel. I could say that I'm a YouTuber when I'm really not making any YouTube videos. If it helps me in, a VidCon, that would mean that I'm not an actual YouTuber. If you are actually doing the thing, then you are actually that thing. If you don't actually have gender dysphoria and actually want to present as a woman, then you're not actually a trans woman. I mean, well, according to the feminists, you are, but that's why a lot of them are going to die because they are going to be abused and assaulted by them. But we're trying. Dan said, I see a lot of cats in these women's future. Just because there's a difference between being a bad bitch and announcing it. The second you have to say it, you are not one. That's like, what was DJ Act? On the prize! On the prize! On the prize! Are you? You got to say it, bro. Probably ain't true. Or like LeBron said, I'm the best. I'm the best of all time. But Pete said, something real OGs don't talk about being OGs. Exactly. All right, let's finish this up, guys.
Absolutely. It's the systemic power that is scary.
The reason that 90% of sexual assault cases go unreported.
By who? Who doesn't report those?
It is because of like roughly the 8% that are reported. Only 2% of them actually face consequences.
To me, Occam's razor would say that 6% of those are bullshit then. I'm not saying that's the case. I would have to look at the numbers, but just based on the numbers that you presented, that's what you told me.
And we seem
I
to
think we all
agree.
agree. Yeah. Everyone agrees.
Right. Some of my deepest, I honestly would say probably my deepest trauma is actually not my physical sexual assault. It was the manipulation that I faced in the work.
Hey, Butcher Pete is joining the Discord. Awesome, brother. Yeah, the link is in the description. It's free to join if you have any trouble. We'll be in there as soon as this is over. And like I said, tonight, usually tonight we are going to be watching some other stuff, and we'll be commentating and hanging out. And but usually it's just kind of open conversation. We just go in, we hang out, and sometimes we'll watch something, and maybe somebody will put on some music or whatever. We try to keep it around the topic at first, but it always goes into other places. But just to let you know, tonight is going to be a little bit different. But very excited to see you there. Oh no! Logic! How dare you, indie film? If it's unreported, how could you have a number of 90%?
Workplace by someone who was not necessarily physical with me, but they manipulated me. They used their power to paint me in a light and push me out of that job that I loved.
I'm so sorry you experienced that.
I agree. Like the stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle. It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
Exactly. She is so cute. God damn.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
We're talking about somebody who's pretended to be a trans woman to go and beat the shit out of a woman. And your question is, well, what would their experience with the police be like? I don't know. Maybe don't fucking assault people. This is how fucking crazy these people are. Am I hearing things? Am I hearing things? Did she really just say that?
It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
I'm not talking about the cops. It's just me and
But the
trans
cops are
women.
a factor.
I actually hate the cops. Just saying. I don't like cops.
If you see a male person and you see a trans woman, like, what does that have equal amounts of fear for you? Or
Oh my God. Oh my God. They're doing it right in front of your face. Right in front of your face. They are changing the words, the meaning of the words that came out of her mouth. She said, if I were to be beaten up by a biological man, it would be much worse because they are much stronger. And somehow we moved the goalpost to, well, they're a trans person, therefore they're allowed to beat the shit out of you because they would have a worse time with the cops than if you beat the shit out of somebody. I have an idea. How about just don't beat the shit out of anybody? Of course, the race card again. Calm down, green-haired Dahmer. We feel for your tragedy, but you can't blame all of a thing because one thing did a thing to you. If you didn't get it, read it again.
Or is there a difference?
So my thing, I'm trying to focus in on a trans woman wants to beat me up.
Why are trans women wanting to beat you up?
Oh my God. What did I say on whatever day it is, whatever the last show? What did I say about people who cannot deal in hypotheticals? If you are not capable of taking a principle that, especially in this context, because there's so many factors in the cops and why are you being it? Okay, so let's take it out of all of that. I say, okay, well, what if a man beat me up? Just a regular cis man. Can we agree that, as we all just sat down in agreement that it's rational for us to fear men? Can we agree that that is a rational fear, as we have all agreed to? And they're twisting exactly what the prompt says. It is rational for women to fear men. And then when they actually sit down and she gives a situation, they're like, well, how dare you? How dare you? This trans person beat the shit out of you because they are oppressed. Must be. It's a trans person. Trans people don't do bad things unless they're oppressed. Yeah, Dan, I don't blame you. I'm getting tired of this shit too. Thank you for stopping by. I really do appreciate you. And I will see you in the next one. Yeah. It's the patriarchy.
That's not, I'm saying hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, can we all agree that I would get my ass beat?
But I'm saying
yes or no? I mean,
yes, maybe, but then
that's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's it. There's no other point behind that or besides that. So this is BS. If you assault someone, there should be consequences to what you did. What did you expect? How can you assault someone without even thinking first, honestly? And I mean, that's true too, but that's not even what she was saying either. Maybe there is a reason. Maybe they got in an argument. Maybe she had to take a gnarly shit and she was running to the bathroom and the trans woman was in there first and she went in and now the trans woman's waiting there. She let out her huge shit. She comes out and now they're having words and now the trans woman assaults her. It doesn't, all of those details don't matter because that's not what we're asking about. Those are not relevant to the conversation that we are having. Teacher says, how dare you make a trans person capable of violence? How dare you? Oh, I forgot.
How dare you? Well, how would the experience be outside of just that hypothetical? No, I want to finish my thought because
hey, Tyler in the building. What is good? That's what I've been saying the whole damn time. Her name's Isabel, and I want to marry her.
That's not the prompt, though.
No, but it is the prompt because we can't talk about this in a hypothetical vacuum.
What's the prompt?
It literally is the prompt. Literally. Like the prompt is rational to have the fear that she just expressed having.
The prompt was that it's rational for women to fear men, but you're bringing in trans women when the discussion is men.
It's not about
right.
Oops. Trans women are men.
Reality for me, it's about power.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what you are saying.
And that's what I'm saying is that
what are you saying?
That situation is so unlikely, and it is unlikely because
that is not the point. That is not the point. It doesn't matter how likely or unlikely it is. These people are not smart enough to be in this conversation. You're just not smart enough. I'm
Because
sorry.
of the difference in societal power that you hold over a trans woman.
That's not exactly
For
true.
people who love to
but I understand what
who
you're
love to criticize other people for assuming genders incorrectly, you love assuming how things are going to happen and like predict the future and how situations play out and how I'm treated by everyone else.
Well, you're hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. You're also
assuming what would happen to me.
you're assuming they would beat you up.
a man would beat me up. Yes.
a man?
Yes.
You're assuming a trans woman would beat you up.
We'll be specific.
A
Male. Yes. That's all I'm
When it
saying.
comes-
You want to avoid answering that part and going to this bigger broad
What's
thing
the
to avoid.
question?
If there's a biological man, a trans woman,
I disagree with you on the definition here.
Biological male.
But I'm a
Fine,
biological.
Exactly. So this is how they do it. They're not. I mean, I don't know how stupid they actually are, but I don't think it's beyond them to understand the notion of a man beating up a woman. It's not very complicated, but they are using these words to obfuscate the conversation so that she can't get her point out. Of course, a biological man would beat the shit out of her. But because she said because she didn't say biological man, she said a trans woman, which is a man. She didn't use the correct words for their ideology, and now they can determine that she's a bigot and talk about her privilege and all of this. This is what happens. This is what they do. So if you get the shit beat out of you by a trans woman, you're not getting beat up by a man? No, you bigot. How dare you? How dare you? Don't worry about the person beating you up. You have privilege, so we're not worried about them. How dare you?
How dare you?
This question is violence.
Male, female, and gender man or woman.
I'm a biological woman who is roughly of like not too big of difference of size. I could easily beat you up.
right?
Bitch, you are gigantic, and I would knock you the fuck out if I wanted to. Get the fuck out of here.
So why are you more afraid of them than me when I present just as equal of a difference to you? It's because of your
No, you obviously could be.
No, because
man would
but
be more.
no, you said this 5 minutes ago. Males, not men necessarily. Males create. Would you say 90% of? Would you say males create 90% of the crimes?
I didn't
sexual-
say, I
whatever
didn't say that.
there was something like that,
I
though.
said I was talking about reports of sexual assault, and that does actually include male assault victims.
Okay.
And most of
Most
the
of them are
time,
males.
and most of the male
That's
assault
my point.
victims, their assaulters were also men.
That's my point. Right.
Hi.
All
Okay, so
right,
let's
let's see what she's got for us. The only one that I've been, with the whole time, other than my girl Isabella. Was this surprise? Oh, only 4 votes. Come on, somebody give me a no there. T-shirt said, "Give me a wig. I'm going in." Homegirl really thinks she can hold her own in the ring against a man, bro. I am 5'4". I am 5'4". I would beat the fuck out of her. She's got to be at least 5'10". She's got to be at least 5'10". At least. I am 5'4". Come at me, ho. And according to her, she's not a woman, so it would be fine. So the lady to the left of the turtleneck, the lady to the left of the turtleneck, the black one or the one that just sat down, or we got green hair, black feminist, pink jacket, big Jew, red shirt, black non-feminist, anti-feminist, turtleneck, and Ariel. That's what we got. Who are you talking about? Trey said, so that means if a trans man whoops her ass, that means a man is doing it. I guess. I don't fucking know.
start by saying the conversation that I just listened to, I don't disagree with much of what we were talking about. When this prompt was asked, I interpreted the prompt to say, to communicate, it is rational for women to fear all men. I know that the word all was not in there, but that's how I sort of understood it, which I don't think it's rational for women to fear all men. I think that's very tragic. We know that there are bad men. We know that there are very, very good men. And I personally think that the amount of good men exceedingly overwhelms the amount of bad men, but that's just my personal opinion.
No, actually, it's a fact. This society that you live in, where you don't have to worry about men, wouldn't be such a great society if all the men were trying to RP you and assault you. Would it?
I also, quite frankly, fear women. I do. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other in the workplace. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other and how toxic women can be to each other when it comes.
Unfortunately, she's not going to say how manipulative women can be to men, but she's on our side, so.
Comes to polarizing topics like we've discussed here, motherhood, other very incendiary topics.
We're talking about physical.
And again, men are just swept on, not even part of the conversation.
Abuse with men, and actually with emotional abuse, it's most common in lesbian couples.
Really?
So,
Yeah, that is.
Oh, it's most common for physical abuse as well. Yes. Women are way more likely to be the aggressors in domestic in DV situations than men.
That is
you
actually,
would know.
no,
you do
there,
it. It's
there is
horrendous.
actually a statistic.
Horrendous.
Women are equally as likely to
Nope. More likely.
commit domestic violence. I genuinely, when I got into this work, I thought that it was going to be like, oh, just men commit domestic violence. No, women.
Of course, you would think that, but you don't think that coming from that idea and realizing that you didn't actually have a good picture of the world, that now you've got it perfect. Jessica Cag says, oh my God, yes, women are mean as fuck to everyone if they simply feel like it. I mean, shit, don't I know?
Women are
Really
equally
bad.
as likely to commit domestic
But why were you
violence.
Nope, again, more likely.
surprised by that?
Because I had a different definition in my head of what
Oh, so you mean you were brainwashed to think that society worked a certain way, and then you went out into the real world and you were wrong. So why would you think that you're right now?
what domestic violence was before I got my training. Domestic violence is not just like
Punching or
hitting, or physical violence. Oftentimes it's emotional violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, financial violence, legal violence, and women are far more likely to commit psychological domestic violence or emotional domestic violence.
But why were you with your original definition, the more violent definition of domestic
Like
violence?
physical
Why were
violence?
physical violence? Why were you surprised that women like?
I wasn't surprised that
Like
women
you
commit
assumed that
physical.
men would.
No, I wasn't
commit
surprised
more,
that
though.
women commit physical violence. Physical domestic violence. I assumed that under the I assumed that there was one definition of domestic violence, and that was physical. And statistics do show that men do commit physical domestic violence more than women do.
Wrong. You work in this. We could. Do I need to? I don't care. I don't even care because I know she's wrong, and you can go look it up on your own time. Lesbian couples are way more likely to be violent than to men. Now, of course, the results of a man beating up a woman more often are going to be more severe than, two bitches fucking bitch slapping. That's not the point, though.
That's just a fact. But
Like,
when you add in all other kinds of domestic violence, women commit it at equal rates.
Yeah, that's a wrap on the group discussion. Take a breath for a second.
I do appreciate the ways in which we have been able to come together and agree, because I am of the opinion that feminism and anti-feminism, they do oftentimes blend, because I think a lot of the times we are misunderstanding what the other person's
We all
viewpoint
want
is.
what's
No, I think you're misunderstanding us. Unfortunately, I think that everything that you've said is completely full of shit, and you were presented with facts, alternative facts, statistics, data, whatever you need. But you just know everything. So I guess there's not much for us to do here, except to sit at your feet and listen to how amazing you are and everything that you know about the world. Because we're just stupid men. What do we know? Right? I don't know, man. I thought that was going to be a little bit more fun. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a little bit more fun. Yeah, everybody head over to Discord. We are about to start the panel right now. I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I think this was, even though it wasn't as fun of a video, I had fun with you guys, as I always do. If you're heading out, if you could hit that like button, that would hugely help me out. If you're not already subscribed, I am knocking on that door. I don't even know how close I am, but that's all I want for Valentine's Day. All I want for Valentine's Day is the YouTube partner program. That's all I want. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, that would mean the world to me. And Cerebrus, always at the last minute. Always welcome. Glad to see you. Come on over to Discord, brother. We are just starting over there right now. But again, thank you guys so much, especially if it's your first time here. I really appreciate it. And we got Butcher Pete in the Discord. So let's go over there and chat where we don't have to worry about the YouTube overlords. And if not, again, just thank you for hanging out. We're not monetized yet, so if you do want to help out, you can hit the Cash App or Venmo right there. But it is completely free to just sit there and enjoy yourself, to be part of the chat, to like the video, to share the video. You know those YouTube notifications suck. So what I need from you guys is take that URL or slap that share button and just get this party out there. A party is only as good as the people attending. And as awesome as you guys are, we need to keep going. So let's get this rocking, guys. I really, 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 really hope to see you over in Discord. But if not, I hope you enjoyed this party. I've been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.